Welcome to this week's Raw Effect podcast, the rawest podcast in all the worlds and all the fabled lands and all the spaces and Halo rings and, well, it's gonna be an Xbox podcast. Hooray! This week is very special because we have Sam with us, Obiwanshinoobie, and we're very happy to have him here because he's gonna be our Xbox specialist, and he's gonna walk us through all these games, and he is gonna explain to me specifically why this is the best launch lineup and the best presentation and Xbox One E3, and it's gonna be very delightful. Please follow us on YouTube, on all the channels, listen to the podcast, give us feedback. You can write in at raweffectpodcast@gmail.com. If you have anything, please let us know. Let's get a little bit of housekeeping out of the way before we get right into it. I actually got a fan mail that person listened to a bunch of podcasts and he liked it very much. Yes, but...
Wait, you didn't even tell me, Max. What the fuck?
I know. It's a secret. We spoiled apparently something about Avengers Infinity War and Endgame because that person hasn't seen those movies yet. He's been putting them off until like a quiet day.
Doesn't count. Like, spoiler has like an expiry date. Like, if it's too
I know, right?
The movie, it doesn't count.
This is the spoiler limitation.
No, it's been a year. We all had a good chuckle. I rode with him a bit. He gave us some pointers of what we can do better, but he liked the podcast structure overall and the jokes because we are hilariously bad. Hilarious. Something, yes.
Yes.
All right.
You guys can hear Max's humor is always on point.
Yes.
Good to hear things haven't changed since I left Germany.
Yeah, so Sam has been working with us at Crytek before. So why don't you introduce yourself to the audience, Sam?
Hello, audience. My name is Sam, also known as Obiwanshinoobie. I have been streaming on that place called Twitch for close to 10 years. It will be my 10-year anniversary this December. I've been working in the games industry professionally for 6 years, doing a myriad of things, mainly in campaign management for charities and community management for game devs. You might have heard Max say that I used to work for Crytek this time last year, but I moved back to England to pursue charity events and charity streaming.
We miss you.
I miss you.
We think about you every day. Sam sent us a little like Christmas tree, which is between all of us in the office, so we think of him every day, basically.
Yeah, since we're doing home office now, the Christmas tree is in the office, but there's still people like in the office every once in a while, and every time I'm there, I'm moving it from desk to the person who's actually in there. So like, it's a little bit of a tradition that carries on.
My webcam totally hasn't frozen.
Speaking of Frozen, like a nice segue, I watched Frozen 2 yesterday again, so good for me.
Why did you watch it again? Was it not enough fun? Oh, it's actually pretty good, so I can understand.
I was out drinking yesterday. Don't drink and stream, kids. Yeah, I was out last night.
Watch Disney movies.
Why is wrong with streaming and drinking?
I'm kidding, obviously. And somebody brought up the first Frozen movie, and somehow this Into the Unknown song got stuck in my head. So I had to like rewatch that song on YouTube, and I just said, fuck it, and then just rewatched the entire movie.
It's a great song. I really like it, actually.
Dude, it's been stuck in my head the entire day.
And by the way,
man.
Frozen, so it's perfect.
It happens every now and then that it just freezes, and I just have to turn it on and off again.
Speaking of Unfrozen, let's get into Know Your Hosts.
Know your hosts!
I always have to wait for him to do his little jingle.
Before you have a full jingle that's like animated and.
You know,
I wanted to do that actually since.
We
wanted to do
myself, yeah. Because Max wanted to like basically get someone to make it for us, but I think the best would be if we both record the singing whatever, and then I can make some tunes to it, mix it together, and then maybe Max can do some cool animation like Sam said. That would be really fun.
I'm really smitten between actually doing all of that and then just have it play out, but at the same time it's just so much fun to just see him struggle every time doing the jingle himself.
Well, I enjoy it, okay, so it's not a problem for me.
It's a win-win for everybody except the audience. Hooray!
Yeah, but since we have a special episode today and a guest, I was telling Max that we should actually know more about Sam this time instead of us. So I think we will both ask a question from Sam directly, and then we will find a bit more interesting information about him this time.
Cool, I'm gonna go first because mine is really dumb and boring. So Sam, which band do you like more, Oasis or Blur? And why?
Oasis. I like Oasis's music more, but I like Blur the people more.
You like blurred people more?
Yeah.
Those are some blurred lines.
No, never
But I like his voice more after all, so it all makes sense.
I don't know. I like the Blur people more too because I really like Damon Albarn. Oh, how did we transition into Gorillaz? What's your favorite Gorillaz song?
Feel good.
Nice. That's all I got. I just want a confirmation.
Okay, so my question is a bit more in depth for Sam specifically. I was wanting to ask about your experience in the movie industry and how that had worked out, and that's super interesting for me. I never got to ask you, so please tell us about that.
So prior to video gaming and charity, I was a professional actor. I trained for 4 years across 2 different acting courses. One was undergrad and one was a master's degree at Central School of Speech and Drama, which you might know is the acting school that Carrie Fisher and Kit Harington went to, along with it was founded and people like Laurence Olivier, kind of a big deal. And then there was me, kind of let the side down. You get all these like Hollywood A-listers and then me. But whilst I was doing my undergrad degree, I just did like some extra and like bit part work in a TV show called Misfits that was aired in the UK. I think it might have aired in Europe.
I actually really like that show. Yeah, I watched it on. I think it was on Netflix or I can't remember if I downloaded it or Netflix, but it was a really good show.
Season 1, episode 1. My face is there. My lines dubbed over with music, so you see me speaking directly to the camera, but it's just noise. I'm like, there goes my 15 seconds of fame. And the movie Kick-Ass, I was Aaron Johnson's body double as well as like a quite prominent extra. And I made the point of wearing white trousers so that I always knew where I was in any scene because everyone else was wearing like just blue jeans, and so my white trousers just stood out wherever I was.
So I have to rewatch that movie and like look for white trousers basically, and then I know that's
like everybody who's listening needs to rewatch that movie and keep their eyes.
I'm in the trailer, the very first like trailer. Like there's basically my face is one of the frames.
Nice.
That's actually so cool. So we basically have a podcast with a movie star, guys. So
pretty much.
That's so you know.
Oddly enough though, one of my classmates from Central went on to like really make it. Like a few of them have made it, but then one of them has really made it. Have you ever heard of a TV show called Black Sails?
It's a pirate show, I think.
Yeah.
It's also on Netflix, I'm pretty sure. I haven't watched it, but I've seen the cover and like I actually plan to watch it because it's something that I would probably like.
Yeah, the lead actress was on my course. Like she's one of my good friends. And she's done a bunch of like she was in Maleficent and was an actual character, not just oh, there's my face. She's like, she's lines. This part was written for her. She was
she's
incredibly
she's
talented.
Not just one of the people with like one of those motion ball suits on that got like completely covered in like a tree person.
No, she's actually a person. Yeah, she's the lead actress in Black Sails. So yeah, definitely go check that out. It's good.
Yeah.
And how come you like transition to the gaming industry instead of like following your movie Hollywood dreams?
The UK acting industry was far too selfish. Everyone was very all about themselves, and I kind of hated that. I didn't ever want to be like this super egocentric, only working for me kind of thing. I always wanted to benefit others as well as myself. And then I sort of just fell into gaming and was like, well, there's a big gap in the market for charity and gaming right here, so let's see if I can do something about that. And 6 years later.
Actually, we haven't even mentioned that, but Sam does a bunch of charity streams like many times. So he's always like really nice to everyone and giving donations, raising money for kids. It's like awesome.
Yeah, currently raising money for a charity called the Samaritans, which is like the biggest mental health organization here in the UK. and working with them on some cool projects as well, which is nice. They're the charity I'm currently working for as well as an independent.
Actually, we could add that to the description if anyone wants to take part in that.
If anyone wants to sign up.
Yeah, I have a little bit of a plug here. It's gonna be right here.
Yeah, Max, now you have to make the assets. Nice.
I don't mind. It's for a good cause, right?
Yes.
Exactly, yeah.
All right. Let's get into it. What are we playing? Sam, do you want to start off? What are you playing?
So I'm currently still finishing Last of Us 2, even though Ghost of... Is it Tsushima? Tsushima. The T is silent, of course it is. I have that to install and play next, but also I've been playing a lot of Rogue Company, which is Hi-Res Studios' new 4v4 third-person shooter with each agent having their own classes and abilities. Is currently in closed beta.
Yeah, I saw that. That's from the Smite studio, right? Hi-Res.
Yeah.
How is it?
It's nice to be playing a shooter that isn't super sweaty, but still has quite a hardcore competitive edge to it. Because I think a lot of... Can I compare it to anything?
Yeah.
Do you remember Shadowrunners from the Xbox 360? I think it was called Shadowrunners. This is where I've got the name wrong.
There's a bunch of games that have something with run or shadow in it. All I can think about is this Switch game, I think, or Xbox One game where you're kind of this ninja that can traverse the plane and there's some demons or something attacking you. It's a little colorful art style. I don't think that's the one you mean, right?
No. I can't think what I'm... it's bugged me. Anyway, it was that with Gears of War, with Counter-Strike 1.6 and Valorant all meshed into one.
Man, you're quite busy, huh?
That actually sounds like a game for me, I think. I really like competitive shooters. And all the third person.
If you watch certain streamers on Twitch, they have drops enabled, so you can enter into a beta.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
one of those streamers.
So what is your Twitch channel, Sam? Let's get the plug right here.
Twitch.tv.
Hey, more assets.
Obiwanshinoobie.
Yeah, guys, make sure to follow him.
It's worth it. All right. I'm also still playing The Last of Us. I finished it already, but now I'm just cleaning it up. I got some more trophies today. I think I'm getting close to the end of it. I think at the end of this weekend I should have the platinum. And I also finished Gris, which is also good. So now on my list is only Coffee Talk, which I still have to finish.
That's cool. Nice. And for me, it's obviously Ghost of Tsushima, which is kind of becoming my favorite PlayStation 4 game. Even though we are at the end of the generation, but I think that's the game I enjoyed the most on the PlayStation. Even though I really enjoyed God of War, it was the game that I just got through very quickly, but this game is hitting all the spots for me. It's a bit like Assassin's Creed, a bit like Witcher, but with this Japanese aesthetics and story, and it's just amazing. It's so beautiful. The audio is really nice. The songs, all the environments are very beautiful. You feel super cool. You have really cool evolution and the progression system. It's just amazing so far. So I'm really happy with that game, and yeah, I would rate it higher than The Last of Us 2 for sure.
So Sam, you said you played it too, or are you about to play it?
It's my next game to install. It's staring me on my desk, but I don't want to install it until I finish The Last of Us 2 because I have a really big issue with starting games and never finishing them because another game's come out, and so the cycle just continues. So I'm if I don't install it, I can't do that, and I can actually finish Last of Us 2, and I'm really enjoying Last of Us 2.
Yeah, I think I heard a pretty good quote the other day. It's Ghost of Tsushima is the game of this generation, not because it's the best game of the generation, but it just encapsulates everything that the generation was about, with these open world sprawling games with elaborate side quests and just graphics pushed to the limit, all the tropes that you get in all these other games. It's just comfort food, but packed in a really pretty package, kind of.
Yeah, I agree. It's best of everything almost. There are some issues with the game, I think. So I wouldn't give it out 10 out of 10 or even maybe not 9 out of 10. But it's just really fun. Exactly what you said. It's basically Assassin's Creed, Witcher, and some Japanese style game pushed into one. and it just works completely. So it's awesome.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to getting my hands on it. And to be fair, like you say, like it's not 10 out of 10, it's not 9 out of 10, but for me, there's only been one 10 out of 10 game, and I don't think there will be another one.
Which one?
Then
Bioshock Infinite. It's the closest thing to a perfect video game there will ever be.
Really?
Yeah.
I love Infinite. I just finished it this year, I think, again on the collection. But I think Bioshock 1 is better than Infinite.
I don't know. Bioshock 1's good. Infinite is just...
Infinite has a better story, I think, and the world is amazing, but I still feel the world building in the original Bioshock and just the sheer, like, how you can tackle any situation and all the tools that you have at your disposal are just so elaborate and awesome. I love immersive sims, and I think Infinite, like, just streamlined so much stuff that just a lot of things didn't make sense anymore. Like upgrading your weapons and stuff didn't make sense if you can only carry 2 constantly, and you, like, throughout the entire game, you basically hang on to your weapons.
I just mind that feature. Also, I found it, like, it just took everything that was great about Bioshock and slammed it into one. And I also include Burial at Sea when I'm talking about the greatest game ever, because it's the greatest DLC to ever exist.
Burial at Sea 2, yes. I think 1 is kind of mediocre.
They're put more together. Just don't include the other DLC. We don't talk about that.
Oh god, the one that I hate the most is like Fight in the Clouds or something.
Yeah.
Because I could never get all the platinum, all the trophies in that one. It's too hard.
That DLC doesn't exist.
Alright. Let's get into the news. And since we're talking about Ghost of Tsushima, right? Let's start with the first topic. So SuckerPunch made Ghost of Tsushima, but they've been working on this for like around 6 years. And it turns out they were working on the second game, or on... they were pitching an original concept to PlayStation, and they didn't like it, so they scrapped it, and then they moved over to Ghost of Tsushima and started working on that. So the original idea was to have a game called Prophecy, and there's a 10-minute video that leaked, like a vertical slice, and how it plays and what it was about. I sent you both links. Did you guys watch it?
Yeah,
I'd funny enough, I'd seen it before you linked me.
Oh shit. Yeah, so what do you think?
I mean, it was in the news everywhere, basically, so...
Yeah.
Obviously, I haven't played Ghosts yet, but I'm glad Ghosts is not this, because it looked like a bad version of Assassin's Creed. And I'm really not a massive Assassin's Creed fan, so I'm glad that that PlayStation went, no, like, we need a better concept than this.
Bence?
So I got like also some Order vibes in it as well. And
yeah, to me it seemed like Jack and Dexter plus The Order.
Yeah, I agree. It's I feel like what Sam said as well. It's like very Assassin's Creedy, and I'm glad that they changed to Ghost of Tsushima. I think this game would have been like more mediocre, and like people wouldn't care that much. It would probably be still a kind of good game, but what we have now, even though we have to wait like 6 years, I think 6 after first game, yeah. So, but it was worth, and it's I think it's actually selling groundbreakingly well, so it was worth the wait.
Yeah, didn't it sell like 2.4 million copies or something within its first like 3 or 4 days?
Yeah, you're skipping slightly ahead. In the first 3 days, it sold 2.4 million copies, and it makes it the fastest selling Sony new IP ever. So it beat Horizon.
How is it compared to Last of Us 2? Even though that's not a new IP, but...
Last of Us crushed it. It sold 4 million copies in 4 days.
Okay, so Last of Us is still beating it by...
Yeah, Last of Us just crushed it, but this one is the new, like, the best, fastest selling new IP. So it defeated Horizon and, yeah, kind of took the top spot in that regard.
Yeah, I think it's actually better than Horizon. Like, I played Horizon, I never finished it, but this game makes me want, like, you know, like, I'm the kind of player like Sam, I guess, that just plays a bunch of games and never finishes them. But I was like that with Horizon, so I played it for a long time and then I just got bored and never went back to it. But, like, Tsushima is like, you always want to go back because it's just so... Like, and I don't even know what's the word. Like, it feels like such a great adventure and exploration, and everything is just so charming. Yeah, and like Horizon is really cool as well, but I felt like it got a bit repetitive after a while and a bit more boring.
That's exactly why I haven't finished Horizon, because I got bored of it. So like I was doing the same thing over and over again. I was like, I just want to know the story, but I don't care enough to go through this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I had the same problem with Horizon. I didn't finish it either. It's still on my like PlayStation and to-do list that I have to finish it at some point, because people keep telling me that the story is actually getting really good towards the end, and there's a lot of twists and turns and stuff. But it's just the gameplay is not really on par with the concept of the game, of like this post-apocalyptic thing in which like machines takes over and all this nightmare fuel. I think the concept is stronger on Horizon, but I can see the gameplay being better in Ghost. The thing that bothers me with Ghost the most is that it just seems so boring to me. It's just real life, but then just the fantasy of how people see Japan and then just copy paste it into this. Like everything you ever dreamt about seeing when you go to like Japan is just kind of sprinkled out throughout the land, which is fine, which is culturally appropriate, I guess. But I feel like aside from that, the game has nothing. All I see on the internet is just people sharing images of this game being beautiful. And I think, like, bringing Last of Us back into it, I think Last of Us will be remembered as this great narrative, or at least the game that took, like, the biggest risk throughout the entire generation and tried to do something different. And I feel like this one is just going to be like, oh yeah, that game was pretty. That's how I feel about it.
I think Last of Us 2 will be remembered as like kind of a failure in a lot of people's eyes. And the Tsushima is actually, gameplay-wise, is super fun. Like, if you try the combat, it's just so satisfying. It's a bit like Sekiro put into like an open-world Witcher game. So it's really satisfying. You have all the stances to play with. The animations are maybe a bit lazy even, but still like very satisfying. And it just feels great, man. Like, you really have to try it. It's amazing. And yeah, maybe the story is like not like a made-up story, but more like historic, right? But I don't think that makes it boring or not creative just because they made it more realistic. Instead of like Horizon when they just made something up, or Last of Us where it's like just a made-up world. This is like a whole open world. It's realistic. Obviously, there's like the charms you said, which are like fairy tales and that kind of not so realistic things, like chasing foxes and praying at altars and unlocking legendary armors and stuff. But I think it's really fun. You really have to try it, Max.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's like the perfect amalgamation of like the last generation. And I didn't say it wasn't creative. I'm just saying, I don't know, it just doesn't appeal to me because, I don't know, I feel like the concept is just, you can literally just say like, hey, it's a Japan sim for samurais. That's it. And I don't know, like...
Is that not like saying that Red Dead Redemption is a yeehaw cowboy simulation for Americans?
And that's why I didn't play that either.
Yeah, and Red Dead is also an amazing game, so I don't know, Max, like you should also play that game because it's also really fun.
I will play Ghost, but I will not play Red Dead because I just don't have the time, and that setting is actually... I like feudal Japan, and I would like to just play Ghost of Tsushima, and I can totally see the appeal. It's pretty as hell, and it's probably going to be fun. But now that Prophecy came out, like the leak, I just wish they would have gone with that, because it just seemed like, idea-wise and concept-wise, so much more interesting on having like this kind of dishonored world with like a lot of open sim world gameplay in it. This massive city that has like all these tunnels and mines that you have to go into, like go towards the center of the world itself to like get new magical abilities and stuff. And it was like kind of piratey themed. I don't know. It just seemed really cool to me. And it's just concept wise, it seemed more appealing to me than, yeah, I don't know, just kind of straightforward samurai simulator. I don't know.
Well, yeah, we will never really find out, I guess, because for me, from what I've seen, it was very much like Assassin's Creed. And yeah.
Unless we get E3 next year, if there is an E3 next year. From SuckerPunch Games, Prophecy 2.
Yeah, no.
Releasing the first one ever, starting with 2, that would be very nice.
I think we won't hear anything from SuckerPunch unless there's DLC, or a New Game Plus mode or something. But I think they'll go properly quiet, I think, for the next couple of years. I would give them 4 years until we get something new from them.
Wasn't there a DLC already rumored or something for Ghost of Tsushima? I don't know. I think I heard.
It makes sense, right? Some expansion pack or something like for The Witcher. But
I'm just super hoping with the success of Ghost of Tsushima and the success of Sekiro that we get a new Tenchu game. Because that's all I want. Just give me Tenchu. Yes, Sekiro, the developer team, is the same dev team that makes Tenchu. But give me Tenchu. Don't give me Sekiro again.
I don't think you will get Tenchu. If anything, I think 2 years out, I think 2022, you probably get Bloodborne 2, I would assume, because they already have the Demon Souls remake, I think, now. So it just makes proper sense in their lineup if they spread it out more. So this year is Demon Souls, next year is Elden Ring from FromSoft themselves, which they're going to support, which is also like an open world kind of Dark Souls game, is what Bence basically said, but more hardcore. In like the Norwegian, Scandinavian lore. And then you have the next year afterwards, probably Bloodborne for PlayStation 5, I would assume. So they probably are already working on that. I think all hands on deck are right now on Ring, and the second team is already working on Bloodborne 2.
You know, actually before even like Assassin's Creed Origin, I was hoping for a Japanese Assassin's Creed game because they could have just done that. But now someone else did it, so I don't think they should do it anymore. But I know that it would have sold really well, and because this game is very Assassin's Creed-like still, so it would have made perfect sense, and I think it would have went down really well. Although I really liked Origin and Odyssey as well, but they are kind of boring as well after a while, so it would have been really...
Yeah, we're gonna get into Ubisoft in a bit. That's gonna be real fun. So, second topic, which is ridiculous. So PlayStation announced that there's 24,000 gold and platinum PlayStation 5 editions, 18,000 rose gold edition, and they're all gonna go under the banner luxury bespoken Sony PS5 collection. So you guys want to spend...
Sony or what happened? Like it
Yep.
sounds... Yeah.
Yep. They're by Sony.
You pre-ordered?
All three, clearly.
Yeah, I figured.
I don't know. This is so dumb. This is like the golden Apple Watch all over again.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't really care. I mean, it's like some limited edition stuff that like a few people will buy and it will look cool. They put in their collection.
Yeah,
that's it, basically.
every time I read a story like this, you guys have seen Ocean's 13?
Yep.
Yeah, it's like when they want to get at this dude like the Samsung phone that's like made out of gold and has like diamonds in it. Just so they can like hack the security in his office or something. I feel like they just announced this to put one of these consoles in like Phil Spencer's room, so they can like keep track of what Xbox is doing or something, like some shenanigans schemes. It's like Sony's 13.
Well, did they say anything about the pricing of this, by the way? like
Yes, 24,000 is gonna be the gold and the platinum, and $18,000 I assume is the rose gold edition.
Oh, I thought that's like a 24 karat gold, like, or I don't know how you say it.
Oh, maybe. That could actually be.
Sam, you're the English maestro.
Yeah, it's 24 karat gold, so I don't know how much.
That makes more sense.
24K is not the price, but the quality of the gold, I'm pretty sure.
Is that good quality? I can't even tell.
Yeah,
24
karat
is the
is
best,
like...
right?
Yeah. It's the creme de la creme. But this just reminds me of the Saints Row 4 $1 million edition.
That's the one where they put in a car in a house or some nonsense, right?
Someone still no one has bought it yet, as far as I know.
Yeah, no one bought it. We checked it last year with Sam. Or no, not with Sam, with Max, I'm sorry. Yeah.
One day. That's the podcast goal. To raise enough money from the podcast to buy the Saints Row 4 $1 million edition.
I didn't sign off on that.
I did.
Sam is making executive decisions here.
Well, it has a right? So it's weird.
I have to make like a new graphic like with the Parks and Rec thing in which it's like just some animation of like how much we saved and then it just fills up over years. Oh god.
By the time you save it, like, sorry, we're no longer selling this, like.
By the time we can afford this, I have like already 5 grandkids.
Well, I guess instead of donating to children, you have to donate to us now so we can buy this Saints Row.
Sing up the children! All right, let's move on. Number 3, Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Watch Dogs Legion are gonna be only $60 instead of 70. Ubisoft said that they're not gonna raise the price of the games this year, but their CEO Yves Guillemot is leaving the door open to have a price increase in the next couple of years when this console generation is gonna be out. Yeah, so this just seems they're trying to hide something and trying to bury stories with like some nonsense news and leaks. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know.
This is 100% a PR stunt with everything that's going on with Ubisoft at the moment and everything that came out yesterday, making things even worse for Ubisoft. Like, this is just, we needed any good publicity. So yeah, we're keeping our games the same price. Please buy them. Please ignore everything that's going on.
It's so desperate. I love it.
It's not even like a big deal, to be honest. Like, as a PC gamer myself, it's like, oh, it's still more expensive than a PC game, basically, because I can usually get it every game on launch for 50 or 55, depending on where you buy it. So yay, very nice.
Yeah, but this is just for console. Yeah, this is just such a pathetic PR move. And so obvious as well.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, what do you guys think about what's going on with Ubisoft right now? They're having like a massive meltdown. Do you think the CEO has to step down?
They need to step down or they need to step up in a big way. And basically seeing what's happened yesterday or the day before, I think it was yesterday, like they're just... Things
Alright, do you want to...
Not going to be good for the next year, at least.
Do you want to fill in the audience what happened yesterday or in general with Ubisoft?
So... For those of you who have been following, there's been a lot of allegations and people being called out for sexual assault, sexual misconduct, and that kind of thing within the gaming industry. And quite a few people named were Ubisoft employees in high up positions. And yesterday, who Ubisoft have hired to investigate have been DMing and contacting those who spoke out, asking them to just sign non-disclosure agreements so they can't talk about what's happened to them publicly, which everyone's gone, no, we're not signing shit.
So, yeah. Shocking.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds really bad and very, very fishy, so yeah, maybe...
Yeah, it's just getting worse and worse for them. They've been like called out with all the higher ups, especially the Assassin's Creed dude in Montreal that was like leading the teams that have been like really terrible. Then they announced that these people are leaving, but they allowed them to leave on their own terms instead of just firing them. Then CEO Yves Guillemot had like an investors call in which people actually asked him if he knew anything about it, and he super avoided all of the questions, and either he knew about all of it and didn't do anything, or he's just the biggest idiot in the world.
And the allegation confirmed already, or are these just like allegations still? Like, is there any like proof or?
Like a bunch of people came out, and it's not just one studio. There's proof that they just move people around. Like you can see how people move from studio to studio. Every time they were like flagged in one studio, just moved them to another and just kept them employed anyway. It's just kind of these shenanigans, and there's just so many people that spoke out about this stuff. Like Sam said, they're trying to like silence all of them.
I don't know how much I can say because the people who spoke out, quite a few of them were friends of mine, and my webcam has frozen again. So from a legal standpoint, I'm not sure how much I can actually say.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that's probably like not legally advised, but yeah, but just like why I'm asking is because like I think the Me Too movement and these kind of stuff are like really good in general, but there's definitely some people taking advantage of it as well. Like there has been some people coming out with fake stories and stuff, so it's also like there's a dark side to it, which is even worse than like it just if you come out with saying that something happened to you and then they find out that it was not true, then it kinda just makes the whole purpose way worse for everyone else. So please don't do that.
Yeah, that is true that there's probably some people out there who like probably make some stuff up, but I think the allegations with the Ubisoft, they're just so detailed and are so valid and make perfect sense. I mean, there's a reason why these people also stepped down. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of public backlash and stuff, but if there wouldn't be anything going on, Ubisoft would do everything they can in NPR to spin this and actually tell what is really happening. They wouldn't be struggling as hard if all of this stuff wouldn't be true.
Yeah, of course. I mean, this DMing scandal that Sam mentioned is also kind of proving it to be true. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying that like everything should be confirmed, right? So like no one gets like fired or just like completely cancelled for something they never done, for example.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's just really shady what's going on there, and I think Ubisoft has to restructure a lot in the next couple of years.
I mean, yeah,
months.
They're completely fucked, basically, I guess. So it will be
currently their PR is completely in nightmare hell, and I don't think they can do anything except deal with the problem directly. Because at this point, what they're doing as a company is influencing the games themselves, and that's exactly what they not want. So they try to like deviate the company business from the games themselves, so people still buy the games and don't associate the games with the company and what's going on with them. But I think they're blending so together right now because of all the content creators just covering this stuff that I don't think they can get away with anything at this point, and they just have to straight up deal with it.
I think the only game/studio that Ubisoft has done well here is Hyperscape. They seem to be clear of anything that's going on, and they're doing well with their content creator cup and Twitch rivals.
What about the UbiArt one? Is that still a thing in Ubisoft? The one that created all the Rayman games and Child of Light, and I haven't heard anything from them in forever.
Nor have I.
I don't know if they're maybe working on a new game, or if they just straight up closed, because the creator of Rayman was working on his own game, like Wild or something, and now he got moved to Beyond Good and Evil 2. So I don't know what's happening with that.
I forgot that was even in development.
Yeah, it's in development. God knows how far along. Jesus. They took like 2 E3s and then just skipped the last one, skipped this one. I think Bence mentioned that there's going to be another Ubisoft backward thing. Backwards, probably.
Yeah, I mean, they said there's going to be one because, I mean, this one was pretty boring and they didn't really say anything new, so I hope there's a new one.
Yeah, we had predictions, I think, last week, what they're going to do in the next one. I'm pretty sure they have a very dedicated segment in that next Ubisoft forward thing, in which they address a lot of this stuff and a lot of criticism that they got, and how they're going to like restructure themselves and implement new rules and third-party companies that look into all of their HR stuff and complaints. I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see a big shake-up there.
I would hope so. I really do.
Right? All right, let's move on. Number 4, Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, terrible name, classic Square Enix, is in full development. Who knew? Let's move on. What a nonsense story. Like, why did they even announce this?
I mean, it was pretty obvious, so...
Right.
Wow.
Oh, we put out Part 1 and it's like not even 1/3 of the game. Part 2 is in development. No shit.
Surprise!
Oh man,
this coming. I thought this is where the game ended.
What a surprise!
The original.
What a shock. Yeah, let's move on. The next one is also kind of like obviously. Spider-Man Miles Morales is gonna run on 4K 60 FPS. Duh.
Wasn't that the whole point of the new consoles?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it is,
like,
right?
I don't understand why this stuff is even in the news at this point. I think they're just latching onto anything. I don't understand.
By the way, I was wondering about this, like, since most consoles are on TVs, right? Do people actually have TVs that run 60 hertz? I'm not sure how TV technology is, because usually like all movies are 24 hertz and all like video content is. So do TVs even run 60 hertz? Do you guys know, or how does that even work?
I think most modern TVs run at least 60 hertz at 4K.
Yeah, back in the day, it was like you could pick between 60 and 50, I think, like manually before you like when you turned it on the PlayStation 1 and 2, I think. And nowadays, it's just locked at 60, I would assume.
That's actually quite funny because the first Xbox 360 I got, my TV, if I put it to run Gears of War, you had to run it in 60 hertz. But for me to put it into 60 hertz, my TV could only run the game in black and white. So I then had to go get a new TV because I couldn't play Gears in color.
Yeah, exactly. But these new consoles also use the new HDMI cables, right, and outputs. Yeah. So Do TVs
Sam.
have that? Like, or does everyone have to buy like a new TV and new monitor to play the new console?
Everyone who's buying a console should be fine. And Max, before you say it, yes, Gears of War was a very grey game, but there were some red and blues in there.
Mostly brown. I think black and white probably look better than the original. My fucking tomatoes!
Tomatoes. Dumb.
I do actually have a question because you mentioned it earlier. You said you're playing Gears of War. Gears of War. Do you play 5, the Ultimate Edition, or Tactics? Like, what game are you playing right now in Gears?
Tactics. I haven't finished it yet, but yeah, Gears Tactics. It's the last like XCOM style game that I've ever enjoyed. But I'm not sure if I enjoy it because it's Gears of War or I actually enjoy an XCOM style game because I normally hate tactical based turn shooters. But Gears is really good, and it fills into the 4 and 5 storyline.
I don't want to spoil anything. I watched the YouTube cinematics to like get the story because I don't really like tactic games, but I'm like deeply invested in Gears for some reason. I just
sit next to me for 3 months and that will happen.
No, I was already invested before that. I played 1, 2, 3, and then Judgment, I think it was called. I watched the cinematics online. But with Baird, right?
Yeah, Judgment gets a bad rap because it was made by a different studio and they changed a lot of key features, but the story is actually good. It's just some very bad gameplay mechanics that you have to sit through.
I think it got a bad rap because it wasn't made by the A-Team, like you said, and also I think at that point, like, full Gears of War fatigue just hit straight up because after 3 games and you had like a final cap-off of the entire franchise, they did a prequel, and usually prequels don't do well anyway. Like, if you don't set these things so far apart that you don't have the main characters in the prequels that obviously survived, then it just kind of dissolves the tension, right?
I honestly think the best prequel, and this will flow nicely into the next topic, the best prequel in a video game was Halo Reach. Because you already knew what happened to Reach, but you just didn't know the story. And the story of Reach is fantastic.
I agree. I like Reach a lot, but I disagree that it's the best prequel, because the best prequel is Devil May Cry 3.
Ooh, that's actually a really good shout. And I still haven't played Devil May Cry 5 because I'm scared to finish it. Because I know I'm going to love it so much that I'll finish it too quickly, and so I haven't even started it yet.
I know that feeling exactly. When I was rushing through the missions, I replayed missions immediately because I didn't want to continue.
I do have the Devil May Cry 5 Collector's Edition though, and in my shelves that you can't see down there is the Devil May Cry truck.
It's funny because I never played a Halo game or Devil May Cry game, so nice.
Yeah, you stay quiet then. No, I have the statue of Nero from Devil May Cry 4 with the Devil Bringer just hitting one of those puppets down, and I have it in like this, like 70 centimeters or something. Really nice. I have that at home. It's collecting dust right now because I'm not in my hometown, but I do really like it.
Do you recognize that? Speaking of?
Oh, nice. Yeah, you still need to finish that though.
I do.
Otherwise, no props. All right, we're not quite there to transition yet into the Xbox stuff, which is going to make up the biggest bulk of the show. We have one more topic in the news, which is number 7. Rapper Logic is retiring. He put out a new album, he's retiring, and he's going to start to stream on Twitch because he signed an exclusive deal with them. What do you guys think?
That's cool. I mean, he's a pretty famous rapper, I think. He's like really, really famous, so it's kind of cool that he turns to streaming. But we even seen other musicians like just streaming on Twitch a bunch in general, although mostly not gaming. For example, Mike Shinoda is like making music all the time on Twitch. Deadmau5 was on Twitch all the time. Yeah. So
Deadmau5 left Twitch. He threw a hissy fit.
Yeah, but he used to stream a lot, like 1 year ago, or like he quit 1 year ago or so, right?
Yeah, Marshmallow still streams, I think. He does a lot of Fortnite stuff. But I think it's very interesting timing that Logic has moved to Twitch and is on Twitch because there's been a huge influx in DMCA takedown. People playing music in the background of their streams. And so I wonder if this is a move, like the first move in Twitch for them to start building their own like streamer safe library, but from artists that they recognize. Because T-Pain has already started making music that streamers can use.
That would be a really clever move, actually. I didn't think of that, but that makes complete sense. And like, yeah, especially now that everyone is like striking with DMCA, like all YouTube videos, all the Twitch streamers, it would make a lot of sense. So that would be a great idea.
Interesting. I didn't know about this at all. But then again, I'm not as deep in the scene as you guys, so it's a good topic for you two to bond.
One day Max will be a streamer. That's the goal.
I mean, he's making videos kinda, so it's almost there.
It's baby steps. He has a Discord account, which he refused to do a year ago.
Well, I had to get one because of home office, right? So you're lucky, I guess.
I am.
All right. That concludes the news. Let's move into the main topic of the show, which is going to be the Xbox Showcase. And we're going to go through it game by game, how they how they got revealed. X is going to give it to you. X gave it to us. And I think me and Sam are going to be disagreeing on a couple of things there. All right, let's start with the big one. Halo Infinite got shown. Not just cinematics, also cinematics, but not just cinematics. We saw gameplay for the first time, and there's a bunch of new mechanics, and they copied a bunch of cool shit from Metroidvanias, because we mentioned God of War before as well. All right, let's get right into it. What do you guys think?
I'm excited. Obviously, Halo 4 and 5 weren't the most well-received games in the world. They played very nicely, but nobody plays Halo to fight robotic enemies. Like, we want tangible villains. And we're back there with the Banished. So I'm happy about that. And yes, it's like the image that we saw, or the snippets of videos we saw, are still in development. So people are throwing like fits on the internet about, oh, it doesn't look like the best game ever. Like, it's not graphically the best game ever. Like, Halo has its own art style, the same that Borderlands has its own art style. It's never gonna be the most like crisp looking game. Like, if I want to play an amazing looking game, I'll go play The Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima, because they are fantastic looking games.
Yeah, but I think it's not fair to compare The Last of Us to Halo. Like, even if it's on the next gen, right? The Last of Us is it's a narrative-based game that is very linear, and you can like create way more dense character models and environments if you have a linear game. And since Halo is adapting kind of the God of War Metroidvania thing, in which you have like this massive open world that you can explore with like tasks on it and side quests and stuff, and you can only progress not by levels but by the equipment that you collect, literally like a Metroidvania. So you can find like hidden passages and everything. It makes way more sense that it's graphically not as, the fidelity is not as high as something like The Last of Us, which makes perfect sense. And I do agree with the art style, because Halo always had this like really colorful, like the grunts were always dumb looking and cutesy and like really colorful, so it does make sense. It's
well,
just
I don't know, like we have Ghost
of
of Tsushima now, which is open world and looks beautiful.
Yeah, but it looks better than Halo in a different way.
Yeah, but
that's
like
kind of what I wanted to get into. So Borderlands is not crisp, but it looks amazing. And even Borderlands 2 and maybe pre-sequels still look like they hold up, because the art style is just pulling it together, that it all works in cohesion. And even if you go back to Halo 3, which is not as colorful as this, because it was still somewhat grounded, but it had way more colors in it than 2 or... Nah, 1 was more colorful than 2. But I feel like this one it feels like a lot of things, they don't work in cohesion. I feel like a lot of things just stick out. Like, enemies have these weird boxes around them, they can see them better. The weapons are just flat and not really textured well. I mean, it's all still work in progress. And I think Phil Spencer, or the head of 343, actually had to address this online, that this thing is still in development and they're going to change a lot, and the next builds over the next couple of weeks and months are going to be better and better and better. But the fact that they actually had to address it at the show-off point, in which this thing had to be looking the best that it needed to look as a vertical slice, it's just kind of embarrassing, and I really don't understand why they didn't polish this more before putting this, 10-minute video out.
Yeah, I mean, so as someone who never really played Halo, like, they started the show with this one, and this is like one of their biggest announcements, so even if they said it's an early build, that's why it looks bad. But at the same time, this game is releasing in like few months, right? So if it's such an early build, then why did they show a later build? Or will it really evolve that much in just a few months? I'm not sure. But for me, gameplay-wise, it looked fun. I never played Halo games, so I'm not sure. Reminded me of Mass Effect Andromeda for some reason, like the map and the world itself. It was just like, hey, that's very familiar to that. And but yeah, I don't hate Andromeda. No, it's not a burn, because I think Andromeda was actually very underrated, even though it gets very repetitive and boring. I thought it was like an okay game, maybe not the greatest after the other Mass Effect games, but it was okay. It's like an open world game, whatever.
Fine.
Yeah, so yeah, I think like if they start a show with it and they talk about how the next Xbox is like so much stronger and more better hardware than the PlayStation, and pushing all graphic limits to the maximum, then they should have showed something that's like really impressive. Like even they showed this little scene with this enemy, like the, I don't know, main enemy guy talking, and even the animation just like looked so scuffed compared to like Hellblade 2 or whatever. Like they showed both and you can't even compare the two. One looked like super crazy good, like next gen animations, and then there was this PlayStation 3 or like Xbox 360 level of animations on the face. So I was just confused about that. But game will be infinite, like game as a service. That's why they named it that, probably, because it will never end. No Halo, Halo game, it just goes forever.
So they announced that this is not going to be Halo 6, and there's not going to be Halo 7. This is going to be infinite, and I keep evolving it. So this is going to be a platform for them. And they're going to drop this with a campaign and multiplayer, and I would assume that they kind of adapt this Fortnite-ish model in which they like frequently update new maps and new stories and side quests and stuff until next year or 2 years after, when they put up like the big new update, which makes sense because they put it on Game Pass and people pay $10 and then they have Game Pass, and so they can always jump back in and then just see what's new with Halo. So it's a constantly evolving game.
Yeah, I think it's more like Destiny, I would say, right?
Yeah,
like,
I was about to say that for me, this feels like Halo Infinite feels like what Halo 4 would have been if Bungie had stayed on and made it, and what Bungie wanted Destiny to originally be. Obviously, Bungie's plans for Destiny fell apart, as well, how they originally perceived the content. But yeah, I feel like it's going to be what Destiny was meant to be.
It's so ironic as well that I think back in the day they said that Destiny had like this $500 million budget, and now they said the same thing about Halo.
What's a budget?
Budget? The budget for the game. I mean, it's probably whatever. It makes sense though, because same as Destiny, right? They see this thing as like this evolving platform for the next couple of years, so it makes perfect sense that they like invest $500 and it's not just this game in development, but also like the content that's going to be added later and stuff, and all the marketing. So ever evolving, right? And it's not the only game where I noticed this, but let's stick with Halo for a minute. So they mentioned that it's going to be open world, you're going to have a map, the grappling hook is new, you're going to be on the new Halo ring, and it's going to be flawless. They literally said flawless 60 FPS. All good, all great.
I'm just waiting for that one person who like is screen cap like FPS like tracing
58.
Like, it blips to like 59 or 50. Like, they've lied to us. I've been playing.
But it's so funny from
my console was starting to burn out. That's
why. You think people are gonna do that?
Oh, of course.
Probably. They said flawless. That means no dips, right?
Yeah. Any way to find a flaw in something, people will do it.
But isn't it funny, from a PC gamer perspective? I think you play on PC as well. So I'm like, we are already at like 4K, 144 hertz basically for a lot of games, and then console is finally at 60 hertz, and they are so proud of it. Isn't it a bit funny? Yeah.
What confused me the most out of like the opening for this, I mean, they did way better than PlayStation. They actually opened with the biggest game straight up, instead of like this weird GTA 5 thing.
At least they didn't open with the Vita. Like that's.
They could have opened with Destiny for Game Pass, because that came later on. That was very reminiscent of the PS5 reveal with GTA. But they opened like with a big gun, so Halo. That made perfect sense to me. The thing that just confused the hell out of me was, so they had this trailer there was a opening cinematic of the Mjolnir armor, the new one, getting like assembled, which looked like hyper realistic, super cool, tons of polygons showing off like the engine, what everything can do. And then it transitions straight into the the title screen, and it looked like Fortnite and super low res. And they addressed this, that this video has been compressed and the live stream is not as good looking as the video on their own channel. So if you only watch the stream and think it didn't look good, you need to go to their channel because it actually does look better there, and you have like the 4K uncompressed versions there. So it already looks better there. But just the hard cut between these two, it just didn't make sense to me. Like, if you lead off with this and you know they said it's not an early build. It's already way in development. They just said it's gonna be better over the next couple of builds that they're gonna get, so it's gonna gradually get better and better. But maybe just start with that instead of having like the hard comparison with the cinematic.
But
and then
cinematics build hype though.
I think they literally said it was an early build. Sorry, I think they said that. Oh, it was just an early build. That was literally their comment on it, I think.
But the game is literally out in 3 months. If that's an early build, I would be very worried about this.
Yeah, exactly what I was saying, because I think they literally said it was an early build. So if it comes out in 3 months, then why are they showing an early build? That was my question.
All right, let me ask you this, because there's another game that's going to be in the game preview. So that's Xbox's or Microsoft's early access. Do you think Halo Infinite is going to drop on the Game Pass on launch day and it's going to be alpha preview instead of the game properly? It's gonna be like the first slice of the open world map, like Dusky from Final Fantasy 15, and you can already play around and get to terms with the gameplay and how it looks. Maybe beta or whatever, but it's gonna be like early access for half a year, and then they drop the campaign.
Nah, I think it'll be the full thing.
Then I would be very, very worried if that's gonna be the full launch.
Yeah, and I think they actually even said that it was captured on PC. I'm pretty sure. They said it's an early build from PC, right?
Yeah, I still don't know about the early build, but they definitely said they captured on PC with the same specs as the Xbox Series X.
I'm not worried. I have faith.
They burnt me twice. I don't trust 343. I really do like Halo, but like they disappointed me twice already. And speaking of the other two games, right? So we had this massive villain problem with the new trilogy or whatever they wanted to, until they scratched all that and now started with Infinite. So they have a self-contained 4 story. Then they try to tie it into 5. So they have like the stakes all set up so you can have like a good kind of climax ending thing. But then they throw it all in the trash and continue the story from Halo Wars 2. The RTS game that probably maybe 10% of Halo people actually played because it's such a different genre. Maybe more probably because it's on Game Pass, but it's just such a weird shift. And then you don't even have the main antagonist from Halo Wars in it. You just have like some weird acolyte in it that you've never seen that speaks of the villain of Halo Wars 2. And I don't understand why they're doing this. Like, is this... What the hell is going on? I honestly think this thing is going to be in early access and you fight the antagonist you saw in the trailer, and then when the campaign drops, they actually continue with Halo 6.
It's an interesting take, and I like with everything they've done, I don't think they would risk doing that. Villain-wise, I think it's nice for people who are really involved in all of Halo. Like, it's complete fan service, so everyone who's played every game, like, oh, I know who these people are. I honestly think the opening cinematic to Halo Infinite will do a good job of sweeping 4 and 5 under the rug and getting us caught up to speed as to how and where we are.
Maybe. I just find it weird that they have like these throwaway villains that make no difference to anything. Like, if you think about 1, 2, 3, ODST, and Reach, like, you always had the same villains in it. Like, from beginning to end, they were like mysterious as hell in the first one, and the second one they got their backstory elaborated, and the third one you go like full out against them. And then ODST and Reach, you like fill out their backstories more, but they're still present and still villainous because they command all of this stuff. And in what is it, 4, all the enemies that you know are just scrambling around. In 5, they're like some guerrilla troops, but they're still scrambling around. And you kill their leaders in every damn game of them. And now it's just a different dude that reassembled them again. And you already know, like, who the villain is. There's no threat. You know his associations with everybody. It just seems so weird to me that they can't just, like, have this overarching threat, which they already established in the last game. It's just so weird to me.
I'm wondering if this boss, like the one that we see in the trailer, isn't a head honcho.
You think it's gonna be like Halo 5 in the first mission or something? You like dispose of the dude that was hyped up in all the external media?
Yeah, possibly. Because if you look at Destiny, like I can't remember the names of the overarching enemies in Destiny.
Like a Gowl or something, and you mean Destiny 2, right?
Yeah, Destiny 2, like, or even like Destiny 1, like Crota. Not even Crota.
But Destiny 1 didn't really had a story though. Like Destiny 1,
you had to go online to find the story.
Oh, great.
But like the big bad wasn't the big bad. That was like Sergeant 1, and oh god, there's so much more behind it. Kind of thing.
Yeah, I think like the main dude you kill in Destiny 1 is like the son of the dude from the Taken King or something. But yeah, Destiny 2 actually had a proper narrative, like from beginning to end, and you got like you cut back and forth between like the villain and his motive and everything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just don't understand why they just continue with the narrative that everybody wants and instead gives us like this weird grunt dude.
Hey, but everyone wanted those enemies again. Nobody wanted the cybernetic people. People hated that. That's
you mean the Prometheans, I think. You mean, right?
Yeah. Everyone
also, by the way,
stand the Prometheans.
I said grunt as in the term grunt. I know the dude is a brute. So for all the people who are gonna complain online.
Like, I think everyone just is, me especially, is just excited to see like grunts, jackals, brutes are all back. Throwing some lambent wretches in there, and I'm happy.
I mean, I can see that people are happy with the brutes being back, but they've already been back since Halo Wars 2, right? So
yeah, but nobody. Your FPS player did not play.
To be fair, I didn't like the story of Halo Wars 2 as well. The DLC of that game was more interesting than the main story. Anyway, all right, that was enough Halo. But
I will say,
as a good continue.
The only thing that I was disappointed about with the Halo Infinite reveal is when it went from the opening cinematic, not the really fancy one, but the one where Chief is crashing his ship, and it pans into the start menu where it says "Press Play." I know that it won't be playable on like Xbox One X, like the current systems, but it said "Press Start" to play the demo, and I'm like, please give us this demo, like put it out on PC or something. Like, it says demo right there. Like, it would have been so good if then after they'd gone, oh, by the way, you can download the demo now. And like, Grunt Birthday Party Confetti would have been gone everywhere.
You think this might have actually been like really early builds that they prepared for E3 before everything went to shit?
Yeah, I think they've just gone, well, we're working from home. We had this built already. We don't have the resources for everyone to be together to make a current demo build. So let's just show something that is what we want to show. It's just
that would be weird, behind. I think.
But that can't be. That can't be.
Cannot
like,
be.
This is like a stream show off. They just had to record like their builds in which people walk around, and then it's like highly edited. No. Maybe as a demo, it was prepared or something like before, but 100% this thing has been like probably that week, that build, I would assume.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it was not actually an early build. For me, that would be really weird to just show something that's not their best they can show at that moment. Yeah, that just makes no sense. I mean,
we work on Hunt Showdown all the time, and on the new Crysis Switch launch, hooray! But yeah, that, like, from our perspective, that makes no sense. Sorry, I'm backtracking immediately. Like, you always want to show off the best way it looks. They're not gonna go with a build that's half a year old. That's suicide.
Yeah, that's definitely true. We always, for example, in our case, wait for like the latest build so we can have the best footage and everything. So it would only make sense for their basically biggest announcement to do that. And it would be very odd to have like a very early build, but that's what they said. But maybe they just said it to like protect themselves because no one else will know anyway. And they still have what, like 3 months? When is it coming out? November?
If people are not happy,
season is still the launch window, so it could be December, it could be November. We don't know yet.
Yeah. All right. So, like I said, let's move on. But I want to mention one more thing. So I learned a new term on Thursday because I watched the GameSpot preview or whatever before the event itself, and they introduced me this term, Game Pass fodder, and it's basically what is it? Games as services that just carry on forever, that you can just dump on Game Pass and you update them gradually so people sign up to Game Pass. And I noticed this trend with all the things that they announced at the show that kind of has me worried that all these games are kind of like infinite, literally, because they all have turned them into platforms instead of single just games. And you can see this with the new State of Decay, right? It's another MMORPG, and State of Decay 2 is already doing pretty good on Game Pass. They just dumped it on there. It wasn't too good in the beginning, but they fixed out all the bugs and got out all the kinks, and now it's just like an MMO that people can play forever. So it's just good stuff for them that just keeps people hooked up to the Game Pass, that they just keep playing this. And I don't know if you guys have anything to say about State of Decay 3?
It looks like a complete tone shift from the previous two titles, which I'm all for, because the first two have been like cartoony, like not serious zombie games, like not as like Wacky and Wild or something like Dead Rising, but definitely not on the tone of say like Last of Us, which is a very serious take on zombies.
I'm honestly just shocked that they put out 3. Like 2 didn't come out too long ago, right? That was like 3 years ago, but that's nothing in MMO terms.
Yeah, I just didn't see it coming. I hope that if it's multiplayer, because I get a very single player vibe from this trailer. I think if it is multiplayer, I hope it's not like huge multiplayer. I hope like maybe it's like 2, 3, 4 people. Just I think it'll get a bit. It will lose its finesse if it's too many people. But I'm just really interested in like it's zombie animals, which is a new thing for the franchise as far as I'm aware. And
I don't know.
And if like State of Decay, you never feel like isolated and alone, and you always just feel like there's other like. They're all like NPCs, but there's other players around, other humans. That this feels like a lot. We're having a sudden like change of tone that could either be like booming for the franchise or could be the death for the franchise. I hope it's the latter, because like if you look at Dead Rising, like the game was always enjoyable, but 1 and 2 I hated that you constantly had to go get Zombrex and like give it to people so they wouldn't die, kind of thing. With 3 and 4, they just went, get rid of that, just have fun. Like Dead Rising 4 is one of my favorite games on the Xbox.
That's the one where they brought the photographer back, right? The journalist.
It's the one set at Christmas.
Isn't the first one also at Christmas?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure it is, I think. Oh, because they always had this Die Hard thing going on, right? With the franchise? Mm-hmm. Yeah, anyway, State of Decay 3. Yeah, it's just weird to me that it got announced at all, because the second one was like so... Yeah, it's the time span between the games is just crazy. I would have rather kind of taken an expansion to 2 and them porting the game to the next generation. It just seems weird to me that they just cut it off, but at the same time, you don't pay any fees, right? You just get it with Game Pass. So it's kind of like a game that's just going to be dumped on there. It's going to live on there forever for the new generation. As far as the trailer goes, the only thing I noticed...
It makes more sense to get like a new game. Like that's weird with the PlayStation Miles Morales, because it feels like the same game. So it makes more sense to release a new game in general, I think. So it would have been weird if they released the DLC or what you said now. And
No,
the
it's
old
just
console
gonna be
instead.
like Overwatch, right? You can still play the old Overwatch on the other console. It's the same as Fortnite. It's gonna be ported, and it's the same as like Final Fantasy 14, right? That one is also gonna be ported. It just makes sense for MMORPGs that they like upgrade the graphics a bit and then just put the game on the new platform, so you can like just continue with what you already earned and what you had on there. Especially with the Game Pass, because like a lot of people already signed up and hooked up into the State of Decay 2. And like Sam said, it's like a big ass multiplayer game, and all the trailers that they put out before for 2 were like just groups of people running around, sitting in cars, setting gas stations on fire and stuff. And I don't know, it just seems weird to me that they have like this cutoff point again so soon after the last game came out, and now have 3.
I'd be
Well, yeah, I never played the games, but another point I wanted to add just by not the game itself, because the trailer was really cool, but like the whole Xbox presentation, that they showed so many cinematic trailers instead of gameplay that it was a bit annoying to me. Like, I barely saw any gameplay other than like a few games, which one was really amazing in my opinion, but like so many cinematics, which doesn't really tell you anything about the game, so you don't really find out anything. And maybe these games are like not even coming for a long time, and they barely have anything. Like the next game we're gonna talk about, I think it's basically they have nothing on it.
Yeah.
So it's just weird to me.
Yeah, it's not even in-game cinematics. It's like CGI rendered cinematics, same as the Mjolnir trailer for Halo and same as the one for State of Decay. So we don't see any gameplay or how these games might look. And I think we mentioned this before as well, that they have this advertising that this is the most powerful console ever created. And all the games that they're putting out just don't look the par. Like, I don't get it.
Exactly, but I think the problem is that Xbox Microsoft bought up all these 15 studios like a few years ago, and I don't think they had time to like make these games yet. Like, that's why we saw like 9 studios, I think, this presentation, and we'll probably see the 6 others in the other that we'll have soon. So they don't have the games yet, that's why.
Yeah, but the weird thing as well is they bought 6 studios. They already had studios before, like Coalition, they founded 343 Industries, they founded, but they bought Obsidian, they bought Ninja Theory, they bought Playground. Yeah.
But they have 15 right now,
Yeah, they
right?
bought Playground. Huh? 16,
they have
I think.
16? Yeah. Well, they showed 9, I think. I think I counted 9 in this presentation, so that's you kind of know that what's coming in the next one at least.
Yeah, but the weird thing is that they have multiple teams. Like, for example, Ninja Theory is not just working on Hellblade 2. They also put out a game recently that they sent out to die, which was like Bleeding Edge. And Obsidian is still working on DLC for the Outer Worlds. They're putting out a game in 3 days called Grounded that they also showed off here. And they're working on the Avowed game. So, like, they have all this manpower, but I don't know.
Yeah, what were
I
you
don't
saying,
know what they're doing.
They were counting something.
I was just counting which studios we missed, but I can't remember which ones they are off the top of my head now.
Oh.
So there's Turn 10 that's working on Motorsport. There's Playground, which is working on Fable. Ninja Theory is working on Hellblade 2. 343 is working on Halo Infinite. Coalition is probably working on Gear 6 or probably Gears of War, the platform. Then they have the people who make Wastelanders. I don't know what they're called. Rare is working on Everwild. Then they have the Ori and the Blind Forest studio, Moon Studios.
Moon Studios,
that is probably working on the next Ori game or a new IP. Meanwhile, porting the old game to the console, which is a port again.
But is it a port or is it a?
No, they mentioned that it's
because it's running at 120 frames instead of 60.
It's 4K HDR, high refresh rate, yada yada yada. Classic bullshit. They just ported with like a couple new tweaks and features. It's just the same game looking better.
Yeah. Should we get on to Forza? Well, because Forza is just, hey, it looks great. It's a racing game. That's all I have to say about it.
But actually, that's the only game that looked next gen to me from the whole presentation. That was like actually like, holy shit, that I can actually see that it's new gen. Looked almost real life like.
Yeah, I actually do have a lot to say about Forza because I'm so confused why this thing isn't a launch title. Like, I'm completely baffled that this thing isn't a launch title because Turn 10 is working on this game. And the last game that Turn 10 put out was the last Forza Motorsport game. That was 3 years ago. And then Forza Horizon 4 came out 2 years ago. And then Playground Games worked on Fable in the meantime, or probably worked on it before as well with the second team. But at the same time, last year they didn't put out Forza, and I figured they didn't put out a new Motorsport because they wanted to save it for the new generation. But all they showed off now was a in-game cinematic trailer, but they don't put a number on it, so it's definitely going to be a game as a service, as a platform again. So Forza Motorsport is now just Forza Motorsport, so we don't get numbers anymore, we just get updates again, like for Halo Infinite. So Game Pass fodder, they can just dump on there and people can come back whenever they want. It's like new seasons for Netflix. And it's in early development. The trailer literally said early development. Native 4K, ray tracing, 60 FPS. I don't understand how this is not a launch title, because every generation always shows off their car games because they're the most impressive ones. Even Sony has Gran Turismo. I don't understand. That makes no sense to me.
It would have made a lot of sense to have it as the launch title.
I'm wondering if Forza was meant to be a launch title, but pandemic put strain on development cycles, and so they're now like 6 to 8 months behind.
It could be that. What I'm
out there, like, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt.
What I'm thinking is that Xbox realized that they're gonna put all of their eggs into the game as services model for the Game Pass, and I'm pretty sure they were developing Forza Motorsport. What is it, like 7 or something? Doesn't matter. Like the next one. And at some point during development, they said, we need this as a platform, so you need to build all this infrastructure, and this thing has to be updated gradually. And they just threw everything in the trash because they even got 1 more year time than they usually do, because last year they were supposed to go with Motorsport, but they didn't. They just put out Lego DLC for Horizon. And that already was very telling to me that they're saving this for this year for launch. And now that it's in early development, it's so strange to me. Like, straight up, I think something went horribly wrong during development, because this thing should have been and must have been a launch.
I'm going to say it was COVID, but who knows?
Maybe you're right. I think it's the games as a service. Like, they're restructuring everything. I wouldn't be surprised if we're gonna get Fable Infinite.
Please, no. That's not gonna... Not all games will be like that. There's just a bunch. But it's still worth, I think, overall.
And whilst I mention it, I'm upset that Fable was not called... Well, isn't being called Fable for Albion.
It's a reboot. They already announced that.
But it's still the fourth game. There was a perfect pun right there for them.
Nope.
It's for Albion, but also it's for... Damn it, Playground.
I mean, even... Alright, so the next game after this is going to be Everwild from Rare. And it's also going to be this open world Sea of Thieves kind of thing that you just play on forever. So it's like a game as a service again. I think Microsoft...
We know nothing about Everwild.
But yeah, that game they basically know nothing about. It's like they don't have anything other than the trailer of that game.
The only thing we know about Everwild is that it's Avatar the Last Airbender, but you bend animal spirits instead of elements.
Yeah, I actually wrote that down.
But it looks kind of cool, actually.
Very much like that. Yeah, man, this game is beautiful as hell. Like, straight up beautiful. But again, it's like the art style. This could have been made on the Xbox One. Like, they made this game on Xbox One, which is called Sea of Thieves. It's the same art style, and it looks there beautiful as well. So you don't need the new console for it. It's so dumb. But it looks so beautiful. Like, out of all these games from first party, that is the one that I actually want to play. But it looks...
I think you underestimate the 60 FPS, to be honest, on new consoles. That's a huge change from 30, and you need like...
True, but I'm talking about graphical fidelity, like you said.
Yeah, but like, if you have like a game in PlayStation Pro, let's say, like Last of Us 2 is not even 4K, even though it runs in 4K, it just upscaled to 4K. But these consoles meant to like natively handle 4K in 60 FPS. That's like... Just 4K is 4 times the resolution of 1080p, and then you even have double the frame rate, so that's 8 times the power you need to handle these games, so that's actually a huge change.
Cool. So, yeah. this game looks crazy beautiful. I really want to play it because the deer things are just so amazingly designed with like how their ears or horns just like come out of the skulls with like the glowy things and stuff. These flying mammoth thingies looked straight up like Avatar, and I couldn't be more hype about it. But yeah, it looks like it's gonna be another multiplayer Sea of Thieves kind of type game.
I'm gonna buy it just so I can find a Perfect Dark Easter egg in that game somewhere and convince myself that Perfect Dark is coming.
Well, you don't have to buy it because you have Game Pass, right? And
yeah, I mean,
I think that's one of the coolest thing about the whole Xbox stuff, that you can just get all the games if you have Game Pass. Like, you just get all the games right away from launch, which is crazy to me because you can get them on PC for $5, I think, and on Xbox for 10, and you can get both for 15 or something like that per month, which is still nothing compared to the price of a usual game that you buy, and you just get everything. So I think that's one of the biggest announcements from the whole presentation, and no one is really talking about that, and I think that's amazing, to be honest.
I think it'll destroy the entire game industry, like third-party wise, and it's gonna drag Sony down with Microsoft. But that's just my opinion that I don't want to get into right now. Because let's just move on to the next game.
Sure,
do you
optimistic, Max?
Yeah, he's always very pessimistic.
I think Game Pass is a very good service for people, like for the users and the audience. Like for us, it's amazing. Like it's the best thing ever, like straight up. But it just sounds like mobile market is gonna happen to play to the consoles because they just devalue their own games. They're gonna. I don't understand how they make.
You don't get the games forever. That's the thing. Like that's the genius of Game Pass is these games are only on Game Pass. Well, some stay forever, but some can only be there for like 2-3 months, and you might be halfway through. Let's just say Everwild is a single player game, like a story-driven game. Just even though we don't know what it is, you might be halfway through and loving it, and go, "Sorry, you can no longer play this game because it's no longer on Game Pass, but you can buy it."
Is Sea of Thieves?
They suck people in.
Are all the first-party games not constantly on there?
They come and go. Like I know Halo 5 Guardians was on there, came off, and I think it's gone back on.
Yeah, but again, it's this Game Pass method with like the live service. Every time they put out an update, they probably put it back in the Game Pass, I would assume.
Probably.
It's just this model of theirs, and I can totally see a while. Put it out for launch in beta or whatever, then people can play it, then they take it off, and as soon as a big update hits, they just put it back on.
Or they put it on the marketplace for a reduced price. Like, hey, Game Pass owners, you can own this game forever as a Game Pass owner, you can get it for 25% off. Like if you want it forever.
The way I see it is they
do that. That's what EA Access is.
Yeah, it's almost like a free weekend kind of thing, just longer, I guess. So it's not so bad, I think. Like you just get the game with a sale during, you can play it for free. If you like it, you buy it for cheaper, and then you keep it. It's like really nice, I think.
No, that's what I'm saying. There's no negatives for the consumers. Like this is just good for us. Like straight up, there's no bad side on this for us. But what I'm saying is, this thing is probably going to be really popular because it's a really good deal. Like, if anybody wants to sign up for a service, that's probably the one because you get the best content, probably. But at the same time, like, if this is going to be popular as hell, you can already bet that Sony is going to do the same kind of thing. But this doesn't work for, like, proper single-player games because you can't just move them on and off because... Like, if you get 3 months with The Last of Us, you already finished this game like 20 times. There's no way why you would ever... And if you put it back on, then other people can play it. Like, why would you ever buy this game if you know that maybe in the future it'll be on Game Pass and you can play it for free? And so Sony has to kind of adapt to the live model as well. So we get, like, these never-ending games trickle out in, like, these updates, which is going to be annoying as hell. And that's just first party. So what is third party going to do? Let's say you can sign up to you're going to get a PlayStation and an Xbox, right? And both of them have these services. And you pay $20 per month to get all these games. Are you willing to pay $70 for the next Assassin's Creed game?
No. I don't like Assassin's Creed.
whatever game, it doesn't matter. I'm saying, are you willing to pay $70 for game X when it comes out if you have all these services?
Yeah, I mean, I'm almost not willing to play that now.
I think this pass is devaluing games, and I think we need to be really careful, because we're gonna hit a point in which you're not willing to spend money for these games anymore. And the only way they can survive is if they either make a pass themselves or if they're gonna be on these services. And at that point, like, how much revenue does that drive? Because you need to pay them. And if it's $10 per month, and that's like, let's say Halo Infinite's coming out, 10,000 people sign up for the service, they all pay $10. That's great for Xbox, right? Let's say they sign up for 6 months, even better. But Halo would have sold 10 million copies or even more if they just put it out as a proper game, straight up for $70. And that's just one game. Let's say they put out then Sea of Thieves and all these other games. Like, where's this money, this revenue coming from to support the studios? And that's just first party. So Sony and Xbox can eat that shit because people signing up to their service and they need to sell their console, their hardware. But where's the money gonna come from for like Ubisoft or EA? Like, at that point, you hit the point in which you put ads in games, you put more monetization in games, you make them play, you put them on there just to like get them out, and you devalue the games as well. And at that point, like, you just are at mobile market.
EA never gonna worry about money with the amount of microtransactions and packs that you can buy in across the myriad of their games. Plus, they've got Skate 4 coming out, so that's...
Yeah, but you're already saying, like, it's pretty egregious, right, with the microtransactions? And if they need to get even worse just to sustain their own studios, I don't know.
Well, from my perspective as a PC gamer, I would never get like Xbox games because I have a PC, and I would just get it directly on PC if I can. But if I have a Game Pass option for myself, then I will get the Game Pass, so they earn money on me. Exactly. And everyone like me, they will earn money, which they would just lose straight up. Like, I would never buy Sea of Thieves, although it's out on PC, so it's a bad example. Or like a bunch of Xbox games are out of PC, but still, like, I would never...
Exclusive is on PC.
Yeah, so I would never buy them like separately unless it's the game I really like, which never happened with an Xbox game so far. But I would get the Game Pass right away. As soon as like the new gen comes out, I'll get Game Pass, even though I never bought an Xbox game.
Yeah, and you're not the only one. That's what I'm saying. It's like, you paying $10, you get all this content, you get all this stuff for basically $10. And it's like, you're never willing to spend this money again. Like, you're already struggling with Ghost of Tsushima. Let's say it's like 2 years into the next cycle and you're paying $10 every month to get every Xbox first party exclusive. Do you really think you're gonna spend $70 in like 2 years for anything? I don't think so.
Yeah, but for me, as I said, a PC player, I spend way less on any game. So it already annoys me that on PlayStation I have to play double or triple, and that's why I don't even want to buy the game.
But you still bought it.
Yeah, because this game looked so much like the perfect game for me that I bought it. And I also wanted to talk about it on the podcast, so it made sense to spend money.
You're making my point.
No, I don't think so. Like I think it's just good overall. Like okay, maybe some third-party studios will be better, worse off, but at the same time, PlayStation will still have the exclusives. Like, if you want those games, you will spend the money on it because that's just how it is. Even if they don't have these Xbox models or whatever, or PlayStation Plus or whatever it's called, it sucks, I know, compared to the Xbox One, that you will still get the games because you want to play them and you're forced into it. Like, there's no way around it. And they win all the PC base over for Xbox, so they actually get a bunch of revenue from those people that would never get these games other than with the Game Pass. So
let's say Ubisoft, Activision, and EA are going to be fine, obviously, because they have enough money in the bank. But let's say, what do indie developers do then to sustain themselves? Because
they sign exclusivity deals with one of Sony and Xbox or Microsoft and become another first-party developer, and
or Epic Game Store, Sony, or Microsoft, and you have it. That's it.
So what you're saying is you're killing all indie developers because you want Game Passes?
No, but if that's like, I don't think where gaming is going where you think it is. Like, I just don't see that as the future. But for indie developers to survive, if one or two things will happen, they will make it for every console and make amazing games that people want to play. Or
I mean, it's more about the pricing.
deals.
Yeah, but I think it's more about the pricing, right? Like, if the Game Pass is $10 and you get all these games, like, how the hell would you pay $20 for an indie game nowadays? Like, in 2 years or something. So then they sign exclusivity deals for indie games. I mean, it's literally like signing up contractors or stuff for Netflix, I guess. That could work. But I mean, at that point, you're not an indie developer anymore. And Sony can straight up just reach into your development. So that's not independent at all. So you're constantly struggling with them as well.
But also, indie developers develop a lot more for PC anyway. Then there are a myriad of indie PC titles and independent studios in the PC realm, which people
You
will throw.
don't, you don't think
15,
PC
20.
is gonna want their own Netflix for games there as well? I wouldn't be shocked if Steam might actually adopt the same kind of thing.
Nah,
I don't think
way,
so. I
Steve.
don't think this will affect PC in any way other than a good way. So it only affects PlayStation really, and they have to figure something out, because I think this is the most compelling thing to get on Xbox if you don't have any consoles or whatever. Like that would basically sell me the console, that I can get a Game Pass and play all the games. And compared to PlayStation, where I have to spend $80 for one game, and then that's like 8 months of Game Pass for an Xbox. That's just like crazy to me.
Yeah, I think at Christmas, like, this might be the first Christmas that Xbox outsells PlayStation just because of Game Pass. If they market it so that it's like the most clear thing possible for when you're average consumer, because obviously like we're all industry, so we know every side of things. But your average person getting a gift to their children at Christmas, like if they go to the store and go, I've got a kid, what's going to be best for them for Christmas, the PlayStation or the Xbox? And if it's done well, like every sales assistant be like, well, you're going to get more money for value for money out of Xbox because you pay this $10 a month, you get every game that they have.
Exactly, or you get like Miles Morales for $80, you know, like it's just a no-brainer. I think this is like the best, most compelling thing from Xbox to like beat PlayStation, actually, just like Sam said as well. And I think it's really clever. It's good for the consumers. It's good for Microsoft. I don't know. It's just very clever.
I think it's good for the consumers. You're probably right. This is a great value, and I think a lot of people are gonna jump on it just because thing. And definitely if the people in the stores actually tell the consumers that they can just like pay $10 for another Netflix service and get all these games for free, that will definitely help. I think it's not going to be good for Microsoft like in the long run, but I think it's really good for the consumers. But
Microsoft have already said years and years and years ago that the Xbox, like when they got into the console market, they just wanted to be in the space. They were never there to like massively profit off of it. I believe when they launched the original Xbox, like it wasn't a money-making area for them. It was we want to compete in this space area.
I mean,
that ethos might have changed over the years.
I hope that it changed, because if they're just in it to like make cool stuff and just burn the entire industry down because nobody else makes no money again, whatever. Right. It's great for the consumers. Nice. Yeah, so tell me why is it a launch exclusive? Do you know? I don't think it said it in the beginning of when it like showed up as a world premiere or something.
It's not even a Xbox One X series fridge exclusive. It's going to be on the current gen because it comes out next month.
Oh yeah, it comes out on the 27th of August, episode 1.
Part 1 does. So
yeah, you're right.
If I could actually see Microsoft doing this, which would be like the worst thing to do, to release episode 1 on the current gens and like, do you want to play episode 2 and 3? You're gonna have to buy the new Xbox because that's where they're on.
I don't think so. I think they're just gonna drop them for the old generations.
Yeah.
It's a cross-generation game. I'm sold. I want this. I love Life is Strange. I really like this. The main character is a transgender, I think. That's voice acted by a transgender as well, I think.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. And the main story is, I think, something happened in their childhoods with their mom, and there's like some powers like it always does with like the Life is Strange and Don't Not games in general. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm really kind of sad that I think it's only on Xbox because they had it in the last
and PC, obviously.
Yeah. What is it? The last game showcase, they showed that off as well because PlayStation got the other game from them that is like something Mirror, where you can work as a detective. And
the detective one, yeah, that's pretty cool as well, yeah.
Yeah, Don't Not is a great studio. I even bought like all the Life is Strange that they put out. I really like the stuff, man.
Yeah, I mean, I really like this kind of game, so it will be really fun, probably. I agree.
That might be one of the only Steam games I might actually play it.
They said that Tyler is the first transgender playable character from any major studio, and they've worked with the charity GLAAD to make sure that him has an authentic representation for the trans experience. So that's a direct from the studio.
Man, they're really talented. I think this game is gonna. I got nothing more to add except just I want it now. I can't wait a month. I want to play it now.
Yeah, same. I really like playing these games. It's just always so fun, to be honest. Yeah. Like, same with Life is Strange. Even with Life is Strange 2 as well. I just love these games, so I'm really excited to play it for sure. But it doesn't look like new gen or anything, but still fun.
But I never do. I mean, like, Life is Strange 1 didn't look like Xbox One or PS4 as well.
Yeah,
it's just their art style, I guess, but it still works in their context because they're always kind of comic booky games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's move on. Orient the Will of the Wisp port we already talked about.
That. Yeah.
So
yeah, just skip. Yeah, for now.
Beautiful emotional game that looks even more beautiful.
Let's get into all the Obsidian games because apparently there are 5 billion teams and they put so much content. All right, so first of all, The Outer Worlds is getting DLC. It's called Peril of Gorgon, and it's gonna be made by Private Division plus Obsidian, and looks funny as hell. It's like Borderlands straight up humor with plus Fallout, like The Outer Worlds already. And did you guys play The Outer Worlds?
If I'm not mistaken, Outer Worlds is on Game Pass.
I don't know.
I really want to get Outer Worlds because it's like a good Fallout game basically, and this DLC looks really fun too. So I may get it when like it's out, and then just play
just get it on Switch.
Yeah, that's like the worst port ever. So thank you, Max. Yeah, it's like tragically bad. Like looks terrible.
I didn't know.
No, like I would get it on PC, and it looks really fun. But it's another time sink, and there's so many games right now for real.
Yeah, I don't think it's like massively big. It's just big enough that it's like the perfect package. Is what I heard from a lot of people. Like the writing is really clever. It has this really kind of smirky, sarcastic Fallout vibe. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like a really good Fallout game, right?
Yeah, I mean, Obsidian worked on Fallout New Vegas, which is like the best Fallout game.
The best Fallout game, yeah, exactly. So it's better than probably Fallout 4 or 76, 67.
Outer Worlds is on Game Pass, so I've just checked.
See, so you get it for free as well. Yeah. Let's go.
All right, so the second game that Obsidian is working on, and they already last time, is Grounded, which is basically a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids simulator. And it looks amazing. Like the trailers, it's like, do you want the biggest game this year? Wait for Cyberpunk. But if you want to play this game, just play Grounded.
Cyberpunk even tweeted at them after that. They were like, I see you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was really funny.
Yeah, the humor in this game is great. They went all out, just being super sarcastic. Trailer was fun. This game is going to be out on July 28th in early access or game preview for Xbox. Yeah, it's out in 3 days. You guys going to play it or?
Yeah, I'll probably stream it. My camera's frozen again.
Yeah, it reminded me of this PewDiePie game on PlayStation that was like the same kind of trailer vibe when they...
Old people need to die or something. Old mayhem. No, just die, old people mayhem.
Yeah, exactly. And they also talked about, like, what did they talk about? Death Stranding in that one or something?
Yeah, the trailer for that game copied the teaser trailer of Death Stranding, but instead of Norman Reedus hugging a baby in a bottle, it was like an old man hugging a big sausage.
Yeah, so like the two, like that reminded me of, like, this is the Xbox equivalent of that game, basically, I think, because it was like very similar, sarcastic, fun. basically.
All right, so let's move on to the big one, the reveal, the Obsidian game that everybody wants, Avowed, which looks amazing.
Avowed looks like what Fable... I think Avowed kind of stole some thunder from Fable, because
I think Avowed crushed Fable.
Well, the fact they actually saw something from...
This thing looks like the Lord of the Rings game that I always wanted to play.
This is like because I love Fable, and I love like one of my favorite old like RPGs is the game that's getting a remaster next month. Oh my god, why am I blanking on it?
Good, it's your favorite game.
Kings of Amalur: Reckoning. But what's always
It's getting a remaster. Holy shit, that game was amazing.
It's getting a remaster and I think it comes out next month or September. It's coming out this year.
And it's also getting DLC, right?
Yeah, I believe. Yes.
I think so, yeah.
I've said that with such confidence, and now I'm questioning myself. Yes, it is. If it's not podcast leak first, there will be DLC. But what's always held me back playing games like Skyrim is I've always felt the controls on console are very clunky for games like Skyrim, and so I've only ever been able to watch them. So my only like hesitancy about Avowed is going to be the control scheme. Is it going to play like Fable, like Kingdom Amalur, or is it going to play like Skyrim? Because if it plays like Skyrim, I'm going to be a little bit sad.
We don't know.
Can you not play it on PC again? Like that just fixes that, no?
Yeah, it does. But
so that's it for me at least.
Yeah, I could just play it on rekeybind everything.
Well, we're talking about the Xbox showcase, Bence.
And I'm trying to keep it console.
It's a Microsoft Xbox, okay? So that involves PC.
Right.
So
we don't know how this is gonna play. It's a transition into like first person, but that might not be the only way to play. So it might actually be more a bit arcadey, like Kingdom. Who knows? Like we don't know. The way like the door lit up with the Balrog scene kind of like reminded me a lot of Lord of the Rings. The first person combat looks like Skyrim. And what I find the funniest is that Obsidian is always one game ahead of Bethesda. Because they already put out their space game, which came out before their space game. And now they're already teasing the Elder Scrolls 6. And this game is probably gonna come out before the Elder Scrolls 6. So they're just taking all the thunder from Bethesda now. And it's just funny to me.
I'm not convinced Elder Scrolls 6 is ever going to come out.
yeah, we'll be like grandpas at the time it comes out, probably.
I mean, it has to.
7 by the time it comes out.
We'll see how badly Bethesda will fuck up the next game. What is it? Solar
Star something? No? Starborn?
I can't even remember.
I don't know.
Oh, Starfield.
Starfield. Yeah.
Lilac.
Yeah, let's see how.
Lilac was? I thought you were going to say.
No. Star Fox, no.
Oh.
No.
Imagine a Star Fox game made by Bethesda. That would be unreal.
No, it's gonna be on the Bethesda framework engine or something. Hilarious.
Yes.
As always, Max, thank you.
This is why I'm here. Why am I not banned?
As the hours go by on this podcast, as dusk falls.
Oh god. Yeah.
Nice one.
I like the name of the developer. That's about it. I don't know how to play this game. Like it showed me nothing.
I get the feeling that it could be quite poignant for Black Lives Matter based on what I've seen, but I have no idea how it's going to play, if it's an interactive story or if it's...
I don't know if they just showed...
I need more information.
Was that even a trailer or like was that from the game? I couldn't even tell. Like,
I think it was in-game trailer, in-game engine. So it's going to look how the trailer looked.
Well, I think the art style was really cool though, like very unique. I've never seen a game like that before, so it looked interesting at least.
Yeah.
And
it looked trippy as hell.
Yeah. And then for me, we got what looked like the most gorgeous looking game that Xbox showed, which was Hellblade 2.
And we learned that it's in Iceland. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
We learned.
How is this the most pretty
weird.
game that they showed? They just re-showed old footage from the Game Awards trailer. There was a CGI cinematic, and then they showed live footage from the behind the scenes from Iceland. So they didn't show any footage of the game itself.
Yeah, but trailer-wise, it looked the prettiest. Even though, yes, we've already seen it, but it's still...
Yeah, so it looked like next gen.
It blows my mind that that's on console.
But it's not in-game footage. It's a CGI trailer. It's like a CGI cinematic.
Yeah, but the consoles are still going to have to be able to run that and show that, like, as a cutscene.
Yeah, but that's not in engine, right?
This was just a...
No, they said everything was in engine. They said everything we saw in the showcase at the very start. They said at the showcase, everything you see is done in engine.
I mean, it's Unreal Engine 5, so it's possible easily. I think it will definitely look...
Yeah.
Like, already the first game looked like way better than most other games in the same engine, so...
Yeah. So,
I'm
Hellblade
convinced.
2 for me, unless I've misinterpreted it, the cutscenes and everything for Hellblade will look how the cinematic trailer is. Which is
Well,
why I think
that would be really impressive for sure.
yeah.
I don't know. If that's... Yeah, that would be really impressive. I just hope they can, like, fix the gameplay, the narrative. Yeah.
So everything. Like, the game is not so good, but it looks good. And audio visually, it's really good.
The gameplay was, like, a lot of lacking in the first one. You played it, Sam, right?
I played it too. I played it. I didn't like the game, although it was like, I think it was like very good, like audio wise and like visual wise, but the game itself sucked.
It was a really good concept, but the story was so confusing, and in the end, just you roll your eyes a lot.
It was very boring. The gameplay, I don't know, like
the gameplay was really terrible. Like their combat system was like rock paper scissors, and aside from that, you only had like some environmental puzzles, and it was super slow. You couldn't sprint, you couldn't do anything. So yeah, I don't know. You were kind of really tied down. Great idea. I really am curious what they're gonna do with all the budget they get from Xbox. So they can
definitely improve all the gameplay and all that. Like I think they are aware, and they will keep all the cool aspect of the game and import it to Unreal Engine 5. It will look amazing, especially if it looks like the cinematic trailer, then it will be really crazy, and probably it will be a really good game. I'm pretty sure they will like fix all the issues the first one had, and even with the issues, that game was really successful, I think.
It was created on like a really low budget. I think it was like 50 million or 5 million or something, and they sold like 4.5 million copies, I think they mentioned in this presentation, so it was really good for them. I'm really curious how this is going to turn out. We'll see probably more towards like next year or something. But the next game that they showed was Psychonauts 2 from Double Fine.
This was the one that, this is no fault to Double Fine, the one that I was most disappointed by. And that's not anything to do with Psychonauts or Double Fine. It's because the like trippy like psychedelic feel to Psychonauts 2 reminded me that it's been over a year since we've seen any updates from the Artful Escape, which is an Xbox exclusive, and I have no idea if that game's ever going to come out anymore or if it's just been scrapped completely.
I don't even know that game.
The Artful Escape was my highlight of XO19, which was the Xbox's presentation last year, and it had the most beautiful trailer I've seen. Like, it just, I saw the trailer for the Artful Escape, and I was in, and I was reminded by Psychonauts 2, and I was like, like Psychonauts 2, great, fantastic, but you've just reminded me of the game that I can't wait to come out.
It's not made by Double Fine, right? It's made by another.
It's made by one person. Artful Escape.
I remember
dev team.
I saw the trailer. That's the one with the guitar, right? The controller.
Yeah.
It'll come out, I think. We saw enough of it that there's at least some kind of game.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. I said 2019, I meant 2017.
Oof.
So it's been close to 4 years.
And what about Jack Black, guys? No one mentions that?
Going back to Psychonauts things, Jack Black.
Exactly,
awesome.
I would buy it because of Jack Black only.
Jack Black and Tim Schafer, man. That was like beautiful. They were both wearing like Brutal Legend shirts.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Like, I'll definitely, with my Xbox Game Pass, I will definitely check out Psychonauts 2. But I
will skip Psychonauts completely because I didn't play the first one. I like almost every game from Double Fine more and track on Spotify.
Nice, as always. I will check it out too. On PC. Game Pass. I'm sold.
I didn't play the first one. I find the arts kind of creepy. It's like just kind of rubbing me in the wrong way, just the way everything looks. It's like kind of Tim Burton-y, but too cute to be that. It's like, I don't know. A lot of people like Psychonauts. I never played the first one. Can't really talk about it properly, I guess.
I never played it, but I heard that it didn't get the respect it deserves. I heard that it's like a better game than how people see it in general.
I just like the old games from Tim Schafer more. I played recently Day of the Tentacle. I started with Grim Fandango. I played the other one that they released as an indie developer. Oh god, what is it called? It's like you play two characters, a woman and a dude, in like some fantasy world. I'll get back to you in a minute. I need to know.
After a quicker Google.
Intermission, no. I'm actually checking my PlayStation trophies. Because it's quicker.
But whilst you're doing that, we can quickly cover that the rift between Bungie and Microsoft seems to be mended. They're no longer angry at each other as Destiny 2 comes to Game Pass with all current expansions on the Xbox version. So if you have if you play Windows PC, so if you have the PC version of Game Pass, you won't be getting the current expansions, but Microsoft has said they are working on getting that in the future. But it currently is just for the Xbox and Series X.
Yeah, it's a kind of selling point, basically, I feel like.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that you took that over because I was so confused what exactly is going on the Xbox.
Xbox gets everything. Games for Windows PC doesn't get everything. Doesn't get the DLC. Because I think there's some ties with Steam that they can't get around at the moment, is what I would assume.
Huh. Yeah, Destiny, like the base game, right? Destiny 2 is for free now, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually bought the game and then it moved to Steam and became free. Nice.
GG.
The game that I was talking about was Broken Age from Double Fine. That's, I think, my favorite one.
Yeah.
That game is crazy beautiful and has an amazing soundtrack. All right, let's move on. I don't really have a lot to say about this game. Stalker 2 got announced with a cinematic trailer, and it looked like a mixture out of like BioShock, Metro Last Light, and it looks crazy awesome. Have you guys played Stalker before?
So I remember Stalker 1. I was like pretty young, and I had a friend and his dad actually played Stalker and talked a lot about it because it was like a crazy, amazing game on the PC back then, and it like required really high-spec PCs to run it properly. And then I also played that game, not completely, but a good chunk. And it's actually a really good game. And you're right, it's a bit like Metro series, like this radioactive apocalyptic world. But yeah, the cinematic trailer looked amazing. But again, it's a cinematic trailer, so who knows? But I'm excited. It's like a big franchise, I guess. The first game was really successful and they're bringing it back. So it's going to be really cool, I think.
Was the first Stalker on the 360? Like, hasn't it been like something like 10 years since the first Stalker?
It's at least 10 years. I played it on PC and I was like very young, like in my early teens, I think. So it's definitely at least 10 years, I think.
Yeah, it came out in 2007. So it's been 13 years since the original Stalker came out.
So what exactly are you doing in this game? Because I never played the first one.
It's like survival horror in a dystopian version. Well, not dystopian is the wrong word. In Chernobyl, where the effects of Chernobyl.
Imagine Metro basically, but more hardcore, like a more
hardcore, difficult. Okay.
Yeah, it's like more survival focused. Like you have to check your radiation levels, and it's very easy to die, and it's like just more hardcore.
All right.
But who knows, like, they probably, like, refine everything. They had 13 years, right? So this could be a completely different game. It may not even be, like, anything similar other than the world. So who knows?
Is it by the original developers?
I would assume.
No idea.
So?
Because 13 years sounds like a long time between...
Yeah, the studio could be gone as well. Who knows? I don't know. We'd have to, like, Google that.
Huh. Yeah, interesting. I always confuse Stalker with Fear because they all have these full stops between the letters. So I always got them confused, kind of. I don't know.
So
I
the
never
first
played
game was by GSC Game World developed.
Yeah.
And the second one is... Okay, Bence is Googling this.
Yeah, I'm Googling. Same developers. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, neat.
So what happened to them, I was reading this very quickly, they were founded in 95. They were working on Stalker 2 in 2011 before the studio was disbanded. Then it was reformed in 2014. A studio re-announced Stalker 2 in 2018, and the game is set for release for 2021.
Oh, so they already announced it 2 years ago. I thought they just put it out now.
So
I thought it's a new announcement too.
I guess nobody cared 2 years ago because there wasn't a trailer or anything. It was just, hey, this game's being worked on again. But
is it like the same people who like regrouped with the studio, or is it like a completely new team that just got like the kind of naming rights to name their studio this?
I would assume it's the same
it's probably too deep of an in-deep question for this.
Yeah, who knows? But I would assume it is the same people. Otherwise, it would be just a new studio. I'm pretty sure. At least a new name. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you
that this will be their first console game, because it seems everything else was PC for.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because I never played Stalker because it was never on console.
Yeah, and I remember it on PC, so I can confirm that.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this. This looks super cool. Yeah, let's move on. So Warhammer Darktide got announced as a console launch exclusive as well from Fat Shark Studio. So I don't know what this is. Like, is this a first-person shooter or something? Because there were a lot of people in the cinematic trailer stuff.
I think it's a 4-person completely co-op FPS. That's what I'm hoping it is. That's what it seems to be alluring to. Because I've always felt like Warhammer 40,000 deserves a great FPS game. Because they've got they've got so much history in Warhammer 40k and so many amazing so much amazing art, so much amazing history.
Yeah, they have a bunch of different gameplay styles, right? There's like a third-person game. There's a bunch of RTS games, right?
Yeah.
Has there ever been
I played the RTS
shooter?
games only. Yeah, there's FPS too, I think. No.
There was a third-person shooter, I think, like almost like Gears of War, like over the shoulder kind of one that didn't get received very well. And then there's a first-person Warhammer original game, not the 40k franchise, but just standard Warhammer called Vermintide, which is like a wave-based survival game, not wave-based, but like you go to an area, fight a whole bunch of them, move to the next area, fight a whole bunch of them, and everyone loves Vermintide.
I think I heard about that one as well.
Yeah, but Fat Shark, though, I always associate with socks, because at every game convention I've ever been to, pretty much, Fat Shark have been there promoting Vermintide or another one of their games, and how they promote it, they just hand out socks with their games, like patterns on their socks.
Last Gamescom where I was at, I got like a Panda gift package because I played some games from mobile developers. The only thing I remember.
Last Gamescom I was at, I got...
I could use some Vermintide socks. Please send it my way.
I think I threw mine out because they're very thin socks, and I can't stand thin socks. I like a thick sock.
I have nothing to add to that.
Nice. So, I like a soft sock. I don't care about the thickness, I guess.
Oh, I'm very picky about my socks. But yeah, we haven't had any information about what Darktide is in terms of game. Again, it looks creepy. It looks cool. Hopefully, we find out what the game is soon. But moving on to something completely different.
Yeah, Tetris Effect Connected.
Completely.
Yeah, a Tetris game. Awesome.
Ready?
Yeah, because I always associate Tetris with Nintendo consoles, mainly because I played it. So seeing it debut exclusively, because it's a console launch exclusive, so it will come to the PlayStation, it will come to the Switch eventually.
Yeah,
but to see it launch exclusively on the Xbox, I was just a bit like...
Isn't there already like a Tetris game for the Switch, like a modern Tetris game? I think there is.
Yeah,
it's like a
every
VR
year
kind of thing.
Every year there's new Switch games, and Tetris Effect, I think, was exclusive for PlayStation. That's like the one that's super trippy with like all the effects and stuff. That's why it's called effects. and there was some like somewhat multiplayer in which like you play Tetris towards a common goal, I think. And this one is like versus and has more multiplayer modes. That's why it's called.
Yeah, but the Switch version has that multiplayer as well. I know that for a fact. Like you can fight against each other in the.
Yeah, but not the same as this. This is like a brand new game mode. Yeah. That's why it's called connected. It's like a new game. I don't know. I have nothing to add to this. I'm not really good at Tetris. I already suck at games, so I don't want to play this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much. I haven't played a Tetris game in a long time. I just know that it's on the Switch, and I've seen some gameplay basically. So, I mean, it's good. A lot of people love it, and like it's basic. So, children and parents will definitely get this game.
It's a good indie game as like a launch title. It's good to have it just on the console. Yeah, let's move on to the Gunk console launch exclusive, and it looks like Super Mario Sunshine on LSD. To me,
it looks like Outer Worlds meets No Man's Sky meets Super Mario Sunshine.
Yeah, that makes also a lot of sense. Like a lot with the No Man's Sky part, because it just has the same vibe kind of with the animals and stuff, right?
Yeah, and I think like looks wise, it looks quite a lot like Outer Worlds.
Well, there's like this game, which is like some Astroneer or something like that. I don't know what it's called, but it reminded me of that a lot, because there you have this same vacuum cleaner kind of thing, and you suck in stuff and build just like in No Man's Skies, but it's the same third-person view. So it reminded me of that a lot.
Luigi's Mansion, maybe?
No, it's called like Astroneet or Astronaut. I don't know.
Astroneer is the game.
Astroneer, yeah, exactly.
Astroneer. All right. Do you guys want to talk more about the Gunk?
No, I think like we don't know much about it. An interesting premise.
We ganked it out already, so we can move on.
Good. Yeah, let's get out of here. The Medium got shown off again since the last showcase. Still looks amazing. Looks more impressive now than it was before. This thing is amazing, and I really want to play this.
This is my highlight for the whole show, I think.
Yeah, right. They have... Alright, so it's kind of the Silent Hill type-ish game with a little bit of murder mystery and Alan Wake mixed into it. But the cool thing is that you have simultaneous rendering going on. So on a button click, I would assume you can switch between worlds. So they render out two versions of reality. And you have like the normal world and this hellish nightmarescape, the Silent Hill kind of world. And you can flip back and forth to solve puzzles and like progress the story. And there's like a whole bunch of nightmares in it. And this thing looks fucking awesome.
So, yeah, I was thinking you might have like three views, like three switches between normal world, hell world, and both worlds at the same time. Because in the trailer, you know, there was like there's part where they were like split down the middle. I was wondering if that will actually be.
I thought they were just wanting to show it off, basically.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they were just showing off how this works.
Yeah, but it could be possible. It would be cool. But yeah, for me, that's definitely the highlight of the whole event. It looked really cool, and I felt like this actually showed the next gen, like two simultaneous renders that are completely different, and also they finally show the loading times like Ratchet & Clank on PlayStation. This is exactly the same, basically. You can just instantly switch between two completely different things. So finally one game that showed off their SSD that they've been talking about a lot tech-wise, that hey, we have the Xbox, it will be very quick, no loading times, and this is the only game that actually showed that, so I really liked it.
Yeah, the team behind the game is also pretty stellar because they worked on the Blair Witch game that came out recently and The Observer. And they also have the composer of actually Silent Hill, so...
Wasn't the Blair Witch game pretty bad received? Or The Observer was freaking amazing. I finished that.
Yeah, the Blair Witch game was like kind of a movie tie-in, but what it was, like just a quick thingy as an experience, it was pretty good actually.
I think I heard like negative reviews, but I'm not sure.
A lot of people hated the Blair Witch because there's a scene involves dog torture or a dog being in pain, and a lot of people was like, nope, don't want that in my video games, so they're not playing it.
They must hate The Last of Us 2 then.
I only have two gripes with The Last of Us 2, which is I have to hurt dogs, which I'm really against, and the combat is still a little bit clunky. But I digress. I'm
right now in a section where they introduce dogs, and I play right now on hard difficulty, and it's just freaking me out how aggressive these dogs are. It's like really struggling moving on in the game.
I have to make Molotovs and throw bricks so they run, and then I throw a Molotov and don't look. So like, if I don't see it, it's not happening.
Yeah, no, they just kept annoying me because they kept finding me on normal difficulty, and now it's even more terrible because like the AI is on hard. So when they just glance at you, they see you immediately, so you don't even have time to like aim properly or anything. So I'm totally screwed with this.
But there's a cutscene, I don't know if you got there, where you literally see the dog very up close, so that's really sad. You have to close your eyes there.
We're gonna talk about this after the podcast when when you guys are gone, so we can not spoil anything anymore. Let's move on. Weird announcement. All right, so Fantasy.
Again, I didn't see coming.
Yeah,
that was so confusing to me, Jesus.
It was so confusing to me as well, but I figured it out. Alright, so basically Phantasy Star Online 2 came out in 2012, and now it got ported to the West on these consoles. But the game is completely out of date and feels very bad to play. But now they have this expansion or something called New Genesis Phantasy Star Online 2. And it's basically way bigger environments, new UI, you play differently in the game, everything is more action-based, so they basically revamped the entire game experience, and now the West is getting it as well on launch. So that's how this goes, basically.
Okay.
This is the game that I think is the reason, and this is total hack theory, conspiracy theory, but this is why I think Scalebound was cancelled. Because there's a lot of elements that are very similar, like playstyle to Scalebound, and Microsoft showed faith in Sega instead of Platinum. So
I doubt it so much.
I'm blaming this for the fact that we'll never get Scalebound.
You can blame whoever. I think the fact why we didn't get Scalebound is because the game wasn't good or in a good shape for years, and they just didn't see it happening for launch.
Or they did a full Peter Molyneux and overpromised what the game was going to do, and they're like, actually, we can't actually make this happen.
But the game didn't promise that much. Like they just
promised 4-person flawless, like join in, join out multiplayer, so you can join your friends with your dragon and disappear again. I think that was something that they just couldn't do.
Are you saying we should be worried every time Xbox says flawless? Because that makes me very worried. Halo.
Xbox didn't say flawless.
Platinum did, I believe. Yeah, but Xbox signs off on all the PR stuff,
FPS,
right? What?
But yeah, I'm actually quite intrigued by Phantasy Star Online 20th Anniversary Part 2 New Genesis Remake HD.
Hey, this is Sega. This is not Square Enix. They don't give it too dumb of a name. It still makes sense.
It is quite a bad name.
Yeah.
Like, it could have just been called Phantasy Star Online Anniversary. Unless that's already a game, but
they should have just called it Phantasy Star Online 3 and should have just started from scratch and released it simultaneously everywhere.
And then we got Crossfire.
Only the campaign.
Yeah. Because wasn't there a multiplayer beta for Crossfire like 3 months ago?
Alright, so Crossfire is the biggest FPS in the entire world right now. It's massive in China. It's like incredibly massive. And they approached Remedy, the studio that made Alan Wake, Control, and Quantum Break, and Max Payne, the original first two, to do the campaign for this game. And right now they just showed off the campaign trailer. I think you're right. The Crossfire, the beta, or it launched a couple of months ago or something. Like, it's already out, you can play it. And now Remedy is showing off what is happening in their version of the campaign of the game. But since it's like kind of a military shooter, they're like going Call of Duty kind of ish vibes. But they also have the super power armor suit that kind of reminds me of Crysis for some reason. I don't know.
I definitely got Crysis vibes.
It reminded me of Halo.
Right?
Like, they showed off the Halo suit, and it was very similar to that for me. That was a bit weird to me, actually.
No, it just looked straight up like Crysis. It's like, oh, dude in power armor suits, that's tactical, and current events, world events, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, looks cool. Gonna keep an eye on it. I love Remedy. I love Control. I'm probably not gonna play this but I will definitely like watch the story online. All right,
you are
so
the master of this.
I mean, you never really play any shooters at all, so I'm not surprised.
well, it's a multiplayer online shooter. Like the biggest chunk of this game is literally that's why people are playing it. The single player is mostly for the West, I would assume, because like every Call of Duty always comes with a single player. So I kind of figured that that's why it's in there in the first place, just like a marketing tool from like a well-known entity as well. I don't know. Anyway, let's get into the last one and the one that Sam wanted to talk probably the most about throughout the entire video. Do you wanna, Sam?
It's bittersweet. Like, so I think we can all say that we've known about Fable since 2018 when there was job listings posted in Europe.
I think even earlier, to be honest. Like, this is the worst kept secret in the entire industry.
Yeah.
It's a secret that everyone knew about, basically, yeah.
However, like, and I like preface, I love Fable. Fable's the reason I prefer Xbox over PlayStation, and it hooked me into Xbox games. Before Gears of War, before Halo, it was Fable that did it for me. So I've loved the franchise. I even enjoy Fable 3, which was heavily criticized.
I liked it too, by the way. I liked all 3 Fable games. So.
Yeah. And I really loved Fable Legends. That sadly never made it out of beta. I still have it installed on my Xbox because I was lucky enough to be one of the beta players, and I refused to uninstall it because I'm still holding on hope that Lionhead somehow gets rebirthed with the same people, even though I know it never will. And one of my friends within the industry was the community manager at Lionhead, and she was working on Legends before obviously the studio got closed down. And so I've been talking to her about things like how she feels about seeing what is her franchise in the hands of someone else. And I'm also, because it must be so weird for them, and it's even weird for me as a fan seeing Fable there, but with Playground Games underneath and not Lionhead. So
was Lionhead actually owned by? Did they buy Lionhead? I can't remember.
Xbox bought Lionhead and then closed it down.
Yeah, I knew that it was closed down, and Peter Molyneux isn't. But I was just wondering if Xbox actually bought it off, or if they just signed an exclusive deal with them to like publish Fable Legends, and then it kind of blew up in everyone's face.
They bought them as a first-party developer, much like how Playground is now, and the studio was closed. And it's like Fable's always to me has been like and Lionhead was the like the holy grail of the UK development team, and like that's the developer I always wanted to work for. They just screamed English publishing. And it obviously helped that I love the game.
I mean, obviously, all the jokes in there are British as hell.
Yeah, like it's so unbelievably British.
Yeah,
and it even has like super famous British actors to do all the voice work, like Zoe Wanamaker and Peter. I almost said Peter Molyneux. Stephen
Fry. That famous British actor. Wait, no, it's pronounced liar.
Yeah, that's the one. So like knowing that Fable was being worked on, but now actually knowing it for real and not it'd be like this hushed whisper that it wasn't hushed at all because everyone knew about it, but no one was meant to know about it, kind of thing. So like I'm relieved and excited that yes, we're finally getting a new Fable game, a reboot of the franchise, a new take on it by Playground. And like to their credit, like I have every faith in Playground because their games look stunning already, and I feel like they'll do a good job with Fable. It is just so sad to see a Fable game without Lionhead at the same time.
Yeah, I completely agree too. Like I think it's gonna like they're gonna do a really good job, but again, kind of missing the old names, especially if you played all the Fable games. Like you always see the logo popping up, you will miss that now.
I don't understand why they just didn't reopen Lionhead, to be honest. Like if they can make the Coalition and 343 and the Initiative, like why didn't they just make a new studio called Lionhead? And then
there was actually a thread put out in the last couple of days before the Xbox presentation, and somebody with the industry said, how would people feel, especially ex-employees, if the Playground development team who are working on Fable, if it was rebranded Lionhead Studios? and everyone was like, we probably wouldn't play the game because it would be disrespectful to all the ex-Lionhead employees and the Lionhead and the team, because they're like, no, this isn't Lionhead. You can't just slap that name on.
That's understandable, fair. I think, completely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's completely reasonable. Yeah, bad idea. Sorry.
No, I get why you would. From a marketing standpoint, you want Lionhead's name on it, and the general public wouldn't know the difference that the studios have been closed and whatever. But industry-wise, it would get slaughtered.
It's not.
I mean, the general public doesn't care about the name anyway, so they don't care who made it, basically.
I mean, it's a good marketing stunt, I agree, but the reason why I was like that, Microsoft opens studios and just names them so bluntly because of the projects that they're working on. I mean, the Coalition, what was it called before? They had like a different name, and then they rebranded it just so it fits more to years. And then 343 is, homage. So I just
was the Coalition Epic Poland at one point, and then that was People Can Fly, wasn't it?
No. Coalition was called something completely different. And then they also got a new logo branding with it when they put out Gears 4, I think.
So who was Epic Poland then? Was that People Can Fly? The people that made Bulletstorm.
Bulletstorm.
Such a good game. Still waiting on the sequel for Bulletstorm. Where was that, Xbox? You left it on a cliffhanger. It's been 10 years.
Wasn't that also Cliff
There's going to be another Xbox event, so who knows?
Didn't Cliff Bleszinski help with Bulletstorm as well?
I can't remember.
It's Google time, I think.
Yeah, I'm already looking for the Coalition. Yeah, so let's not have dead air in the middle of the podcast.
Middle?
All right, so basically, so how do you guys feel about the trailer for Fable? Because we just talked about what Fable means to Sam, right? I think I was so disappointed with this. I love that they announced that Fable is out, but this trailer showed me nothing. It was a CGI render that might not look anything like this game at all. And it was like funny quirks and jokes, and it's awesome that they're gonna bring back the humor. But honestly, this felt like just a black background and then suddenly the logo fades in. This was nothing else for me. Like, this tells me absolutely nothing, and I would have wished, hoped, prayed for that we at least see something of this game.
Whilst I understand that, what just the cinematic tells me, or at least alludes to me, is that Playground get what Fable is, and that they get the humor, which is so key to Fable.
Yeah, but they could have shown that off in gameplay as well.
Well, who knows if they even have gameplay? Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I was happy with it. It was like showing off the humor, like it showed off the world, how it will look. It's like it was really nice, and I didn't expect the gameplay at all. Like, I would have hoped for from all the games they announced, because we saw so many cinematics, but I don't know. I didn't expect gameplay from Fable. I was happy to get the announcement. First of all, it was already nice to see that it's Fable, and knowing it is Fable back, finally announced for real. And I liked the cinematic. It was really funny. It reminded me of the game. Like, as you said, like this British humor. Like, they showed like a frog eating something. It was really funny. It was cute. Very cool. I was just really happy, so I was not disappointed.
The cutest toad ever.
Yeah, I was not disappointed, to be honest. Like, I didn't expect anything more.
Just the trailer itself disappointed me as well. Like, Fable always got announced was first time. For Fable 3, they had this entire chicken trailer of like the chicken running around in the British, what is it, like Revolution? No, not Revolution. British, whatever, in this British city, and then going from like house to house, escaping near-death experiences, and in the end getting his head chopped off, getting prepared as dinner, and then put in front of the king or something. Like, that told you everything about this game. It was amazing. It was cinematic. This told me nothing.
But to be fair, that was their cinematic trailer. That wasn't their launch. That wasn't their like, hey, this is being worked on. Like, we will get that trailer at E3 next year.
Yeah, this was like an announcement trailer, basically. Yeah, just cinematic.
I know. I'm just disappointed that we didn't see more, to be honest. Like, this gave me nothing.
But I think that was the point. Like, they probably don't have much more at this point, and they wanted to like have a big announcement. Although everyone knew that it's kind of coming.
Then I could have like made it a bit cooler. Like, why do we like? Why do we need to see more of this game? Like, this game me nothing. But then I could have like made it a bit cooler. Like, why do we like? Why do we need to see more of this game? Like, this game me nothing. our time with like one stupid fairies and a toad for a joke and stuff. Like maybe just have like a cinematic trailer of like the capital where you like slowly go outwards or something. So
well,
you
they
see
showed
that,
it from the
or,
outside, didn't they?
or like how about you have like one main character and then you have like his horns coming out and close up, or like him having a holy halo or something above his head, or something more relatable to Fable itself. It just seems so random to have like this fairy in there and stuff. It was for a joke. I get it. I totally get it. But I just wish we would have like gotten something more about this game and the feeling of it. It's nice that they reboot it. I'm assuming they're not doing the same story as the first one. I hope. So they completely go in a different direction. But I just wish they would have maybe shown a tiny bit of it, like just the tiniest glimpse of narrative at all.
I wonder if we'll see that at their next, because there's another Xbox event soon, which is where we're going to see stuff from the other studios who we didn't see at this one. So I wonder if we'll get a smidgen of an update.
Well, I doubt it, to be honest.
But you just said that we're going to see stuff from the other studio, so then no, right?
But the other that's what they said. They will be focused on the other studios, but they didn't necessarily say we won't see more of what we've already seen, because Halo have teased that the multiplayer reveal will be soon as well. So I wonder if the multiplayer reveal will be in this next future Xbox event, which will showcase the other developers as well.
By the way, I find it weird in general, like the event itself. I feel like they should have just done like one big, super awesome reveal event with everything shown off instead of two kind of mediocre, okay-ish event. You know, like I felt like if they just put everything in one, it would have been better.
I think it would have been too long. I think they should have just focused on like real important instead of like sprinkling out so much lackluster stuff in between. I don't know. I don't think PlayStation did a great job with their reveal events, to be honest. I think Xbox did it slightly worse. But I mean, it is what it is. I think I'm just
about the Nintendo
Fable, to be honest. Oh god, yeah, let's not talk about Switch. By the way, which studios actually left? So I tried to Google it, but I just gave up. So the ones that are obvious are Coalition, so maybe we see some more Gears. And the ones that make We Happy Few. I assume they're working on a new game-ish, so maybe we see teaser trailer for that.
Or like expansion to We Happy Few, second game, I don't know.
Or maybe it's just gonna be ported as well.
Yeah, that would be disappointing though, kinda, I think.
So games that were missing that will probably be next time will be Wasteland 3, rumored Age of Empires 4.
You think we're gonna see Perfect Dark?
That would be awesome.
Nah, we won't see Perfect Dark. And obviously Battletoads, which we haven't seen anything from for a while, so that will be another one.
I'm gonna do a prediction right now, and I don't know if it's coming true at all, but I'm gonna predict that we're gonna see Perfect Dark, and it's gonna be, instead of from Rare, it's gonna be from the Initiative. Because that's a new studio that Microsoft founded themselves, and we don't know anything about anything. Like, they don't have any previous games, they haven't disclosed anything that they're working on. I think that they work on Perfect Dark.
I hope so. I hope Perfect Dark. 3 of the studios that we're missing, by the way, In Exile, The Initiative, and Compulsion.
What are In Exile doing?
I have no idea.
Okay, and Compulsion?
I guess we will see, because none of us have any idea.
No. I'm just curious what they were working on before, because I know all these they worked on, just like the smaller. I don't want to say the smaller ones. I really don't know what their like track record is.
Oh, so In Exile is Wasteland 3.
Okay, so we're gonna see that from them, and then Compulsion is.
Compulsion isn't that we
Dead Air. Gotta love it.
Do you want to we just have no idea, Bence? And we are just Googling it.
Yeah,
so
I have to Google because I can't remember who Compulsion are.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. You can totally Google. I'm just like trying to fill the dead air with something, so the audio listeners.
We Happy Few is Compulsion Games.
Ah, that makes a lot of sense, because I didn't know the name of the studio. I just know their logo kind of look Few.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect like maybe be happy for you too. Actually, like I actually never finished that game completely, but I think the story was open enough to make a second one. And also, art style wise, it's can easily go on any console, even this gen. So doesn't matter.
I'm hoping. I think out of all the studios, I want to see what the initiative does to see if my prediction is right or not. And I want to see what Compulsion is doing, because I really hope that they're just going to tease a new IP.
That would be good to see a new IP. Did we see any? Yeah, we saw like what new IP?
Avowed is new.
Actually? Yeah, Avowed. Yeah, that looks really cool actually.
Grounded.
Grounded.
But they already announced it before though.
As Dusk Falls is a new IP.
But that's not first party.
I thought it was.
Everwild is a new IP.
No, they got that super weird. So Obsidian said that they're working on these 3 titles that they already announced. So DLC, Grounded, and Avowed. And then they said that they're working with other partners to help them make their games or something. It was super weird, the phrasing. I don't know. Maybe it's a first party game. I don't think so.
And the one that we didn't really see much of, where it's
Everwild, yeah.
The family who get caught up in a shooting, that really interesting art style.
Oh,
wasn't that Dust? That was the Dust game, wasn't it?
Oh, sorry, I'm getting as that.
That was a Dusk Falls, yeah.
I said as Dusk Falls, and I was thinking of Tell Me Why.
Tell Me Why isn't first party either. That's also third party. Don't Not is not owned by Xbox.
Oh yeah.
I think that's an exclusive, third party exclusive for them. Yeah, but I think in general they did a good job. A lot of diverse portfolio. Same as PlayStation. I don't know. I feel like
I thought PlayStation was better still.
Yeah,
no one beat PlayStation this year in like events at least.
I think the beat just didn't hit quite the same for me. It's like Ratchet & Clank is bigger for me as a launch game than whatever. Well, I think Halo is the make or break point launch for Xbox. I think that's it. Like, I don't know if any of the other games are actually gonna launch. I think the only game that seems to launch with Halo might be Everwild. I think everything else is just cinematic trailers.
Everwild will definitely not launch on launch. They didn't.
Why not?
That game they have nothing of, I think, at all. Like that game will come in like 3 years, no?
Why?
Like that's what I heard. Like I thought Everwild they have basically nothing done, so it won't launch in a few months.
How long was the development period for Sea of Thieves, by the way? Do you know, Sam? It's made by Rare, right? I think the game was. I think the game was made in 2 years. I could be completely wrong, but in my head it's 2 years. So it wouldn't be completely out of the world when they launched Sea of Thieves that they split their teams and they already prototyped this game, because they already put out the trailer in the beginning of the year for. So maybe it's ready for launch. It could be. If it's like another game as a service, they can put it out and then improve it later on with updates. Like I said with Sea of Thieves, because it seems like a multiplayer game, because they have like all these people around with teaser trailers. Like there were people running around like in groups and in hunting teams and stuff. Sorry.
Yeah, I couldn't really hear what you said.
Basically, I think maybe Everwild might launch, because if they don't, then they only have Halo.
I really don't expect Everwild to launch. I think that will be one of the games that will not come in even years for some reason. I don't know why I have that feeling, but I'm pretty sure.
I think it will. If it's not this year, it will definitely launch like this year, I would assume. I think they're far enough in development and have like the world figured out that they can launch it, because I think it's a live service game like Sea of Thieves, and you can just explore the world and they will add more things to the Game Pass and stuff later on. But so that only leaves Halo for launch, right?
And backwards compatibility.
Yeah, but they also mentioned one game, I think, that said like exclusively launching, I'm pretty sure. And your cam froze some, by the way.
Yeah, they're like all the third-party games that came after Hellblade were all first-party launch exclusives, like all of them. but that's also all not first party. What I'm saying is that this just seems like really weird to me. I think at least PlayStation has Gran Turismo, Ratchet & Clank, Demon's Souls Remastered, and Miles Morales. Like, that just seems like a better launch lineup. But then again, Xbox has the Game Pass, so...
Yeah, we will see what's actually launching, so we're not sure. Well,
oh my god.
Have to wait.
Xbox will have this on launch day. So I didn't know this game
I
existed.
think I'm buying an Xbox, yeah.
Until a couple of weeks ago. And obviously the Xbox has said that their backwards compatibility list will basically be every game that's ever existed on Xbox. So I went onto eBay and bought this in the hope that it works.
It's not Blinks the Time Cat, but it's close enough.
I love how you just keep the game in your drawer behind yourself.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready for launch.
He just put it in the drawer for the podcast. Usually it's underneath his pillow.
Hold it. It's next to my...
It is his pillow. What do you mean, Max? He's sleeping on it.
No, not to fondle it. It's like if he gets burglars, he can just like take it underneath and show it to them. They run away.
What is that?
All right. I think we've been running forever with this podcast. Like, there was so much to cover.
Yeah.
Do we want to bring it home? Yeah. Long episode. I already said it in the beginning.
2.5 hours, so...
Good job, boys. I should buy some lights, by the way.
I'm surprised my hard drive can still like have space on it after this. It's probably like 100 gigabytes.
For all the people who are actually still around, I actually did buy some funny lights, which I'm gonna show off next time, hopefully, when they arrive. So
you just have to buy a camera or like Cam Link or something, so you're actually not like 4 pixels on the screen.
Yeah, I know, right? All the high standards set by you streamers.
I look at Sam, who looks like professional. Look at me, and then there's Max.
Yeah,
but you're...
Max looks like he's in a hostel somewhere.
True.
How do you know I'm not?
I don't, to be fair.
Yeah. All right. Bence, do you want to bring it home? And
sure. So first of all, thank you, Sam, for joining us today. It was our pleasure.
It was my pleasure to talk about Xbox things.
Yeah,
you know we need to have you back for the next showcase, right?
Exactly. We will have you back, so stay tuned, guys, for Sam. But anyway, this was a very long episode, so thank you everyone for watching, listening, and make sure to ask your questions. If you have any questions about the Xbox showcase, about Sam, about Max, or myself, send it to raweffectpodcast@gmail.com or to our YouTube comment section. Leave voice messages on Spotify or Anchor or wherever you can, and we will definitely answer it. So again, thank you for watching us. Make sure to follow us everywhere, subscribe on YouTube, and we will be back next week. And we are here every single Monday, so don't miss a single episode. But for now, we're gonna go and brew some raw so we can drink some coffee, and see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Whew.